Need your carpets or upholstery cleaned fast? Whether it's a spring clean, bond clean, or just wear and tear from the pets and kids, Be Clean NQ is your premier quality carpet, upholstery, rug and mattress cleaning service. They'll go above and beyond to guarantee the best job at the best price. And they're 100% locally owned and operated. Have a chat to the busy bees at Be Clean NQ today. Go to beeclean.com.au because they're not happy until you are.
Yes, it's finals week, episode 183, and the Sheriff is back in town. This is On The Ranch, brought to you by the great Molly Malones Irish Pub.
Well done, Peter. That is episode 183. An impromptu intro there, unwritten. I'm ex-Bob. That was Pistol Pete. Across from him, Trent, Mr. Yes, Billy on the video.
They can't hear you when you're signing.
Yeah, the video is all good. And as mentioned by Pistol Blazing 2 Guns, the Sheriff has joined us at the table once again, pre-finals. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
It was very surprising to see that you're... Not surprising, but a very welcome message to see that you wanted to join us for another.
Well, I was sick of Pete asking me at the Lease Club for the past 2 years with rum strong on his breath and the cup that he drinks out of. So thought I'd pay up.
The power of the pannikin.
That's a lie.
That's probably not a lie because we've seen the odd photo.
Yeah, exactly. I had a cup on the top of my head there one night. So
that has been shared.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. It's a good thing.
Not on social media, please.
That was all consensual as well.
I know that.
I would have said it was AI.
Yes. Well, we've actually got On The Ranch branded ones now, so we're a little more organised. It's not just Bundy Rum, which is probably worse for you because it's not one of your sponsors. But
Oh, look.
So here's one for you.
Yeah, there's one.
Thank
Take
you.
it.
The challenge is after we beat the Knights on Saturday night is if you can just leave it in front of the press conference next to the Cokes and Powerades, that would be an amazing.
I'll see what I can do.
Although we have been asking...
It's the same cup.
Pretty much. Yep. We have been asking Felty to do shout-outs to us every time he scores a try, but he still hasn't done one in 2-3 years. So
I hope he keeps scoring.
I've no doubt he will. We'll be on him this weekend, just quietly.
Good.
Yeah.
150, so keep going, boy.
It's very good. It is very good. Actually, leads straight in the first question. Losing a lot of experience at the end of this year. With Felty, Jake, Chad, Val.
Yep.
That's going to make it a bit tougher next year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different feeling and different environment. Those guys have done a great job for us for a long time. But we feel strongly that our kids are ready to step up. There's the next group of emerging leaders that are ready to step up as well. The sad part about our game is that you just can't play forever. And if I look at Felty, had an opportunity for a bit of security. I was pretty honest with him a while back. We didn't have a position at the time inside of our roster, but I said if there was one going to be available, what it would look like would be minimum wage and for 12 months. And throughout the course of the next little period, he was managed to lock away 2 years at a really good club over in England. I think it'll be great for him. Val was, I guess, a cap management decision. Kid's terrific kid. He's Townsville kid. He's back in some really good form, and it was a difficult decision. But I guess the negotiations, were sparked a little bit from his end, wanting to go to market, and then that would solve a few problems for us and give us the ability to lock away Griffin Neame, Ruben Cotter, hopefully in the final stages of Jordan McLean. So, lock away some key pieces of the puzzle, and knowing that we've got Viliami Viley, who's stepped up, really, really well this year. Zachy Labart's coming back from injury. I think Thomas Chester can be an awesome centre. We've got Sammy Valamay So I think our depth is covered there. Val's an out-and-out star, but again, it's just around cap and trying to get the most value within the squad and different pieces. And then Jakey, he's been a warrior now for us for a long time. He's been the best club man I've ever come across in my time in rugby league, player as a coach. He's the glue of our squad. He's the father figure. He's a great example for all of our players on and off the park, whether it's, treatment of our fans, how he fathers, what type of husband he is, the way he trains. And then you saw what he did in a couple of games where he tore a bicep, finished the game, tore his pec, finished the half and was willing to go back on. And he's just no nonsense, and it's all about the team and the club, and we're going to miss him.
As you said, there's a few sort of younger kids coming through, but a lot of them have some big game experience as well.
Yep.
Tommy Dearden especially. And
Tommy and Rubes are, the captains for this year. They're representative players, I guess the leadership part of their career has kind of evolved this year. They've taken the responsibility on really, really well, and I've liked it. There's some parts that still need to develop, and I guess the decision around that captaincy was made in the off-season of last year, knowing that we've got some leadership that's going to walk out the door, experience that's going to walk out the door at the end of this season. So there's a bit of a long-term decision around that, knowing that those boys can develop for this next 12 months with, some guys holding their hands, and Chad's done an awesome job with that. Once those guys walk out the door, then, they're in their best possible shape, which they are for the start of next year, but it'll be a different feeling around the group.
Yeah, indeed.
Has Chad been a part of the Renegades for the last few weeks? How's he taken to that?
No, I'm not. The last 3 weeks has no doubt been difficult for him. Gave him the news prior to the Raiders game. He was disappointed. He didn't say a lot, but I could tell he was disappointed. But he managed and handled himself in and around the group terrifically well for that next little period. What I'm seeing from him at the moment is the way that he's coordinating that Renegades team, and some of the stuff that they're putting against our NRL team has put us under a heap of stress. And he's been first class. He's shown great humility. He understands why. He said to me, he's experienced enough to know and been here before, and he knows what to do. So he also understands that there's a lot of eyes on him too, watching how he handles it. And he's been really good. And like I said, it's not been easy for him.
No, well, he is probably one of the most experienced guys out there, and a lot of, experience with him as well, like you say.
Yep.
So not that we expected he would be kicking stones around and have his head down the whole time.
Well,
but
Chad's had a profound effect on our club. Since he's been here for 3 years. He's a major reason for the turnaround in the direction of the group, style of play. His fingers are all through our attacking style, shapes and structures. You see what he's done with those guys, with the golf and the players' range, I guess. It's just opened their eyes up that there's more to life than footy, and they can think differently about things. The connection that comes out of the boys playing golf, their wives are pretty tight. He's been all in an engagement part of a connection piece of our club. So, look, I know there's some detractors for him publicly, but I cannot speak highly of what he's done for us as a club in his time here. And, it hasn't finished the way yet, and hopefully, we've got a month of footy and he could be playing. So if something happens within the halves at the moment, and he's coming back in. So he's working really hard, he's training really hard, and his attitude's been great. So, I can't speak highly enough of him.
you mentioned earlier that Val was sort of, that he's in form now. He was sort of, from our point of view, a bit out of form earlier in the year. Did that public eye play on him a little bit, that he knew people were watching him, do you think? Or
Throughout the negotiation process? Or
more so, probably before Origin, he was sort of a bit, I don't know, he looked a bit off or distracted or...
I wouldn't say distracted. I think, we've shifted we've changed what we do defensively in terms of detail around our defensive structures and principles. The principles are the same, but at the detail of it and the way we move. And he probably struggled most with the shift in what we're doing. Chad took a little bit of time too also. So these players have had these habits that have been rusted on for a long time, and we've tried to change them, and I thought it would happen quicker. Without going into a lot of detail and technical jargon, I wanted our edge defence to be a little less predictable because we're pulling the trigger and jamming far too often, and sides that with smart halves were pulling us apart and we're getting tries scored against us in the corner. And then with what we're doing, we're trying to get forward and then transport the line sideways and make a sticker on the edge before we make a decision one way or another, whether we jam or we hustle. So, what that did in the first half of the year probably exposed our inside shoulder a little bit, so some tries were going through us. But what I like in the last month is that everyone's got a full grasp of it, and if tries are getting scored against us, it's either from one-on-one missed tackle or multiple errors within the system. So, like I said, I would have liked it would have come together quicker, but everyone's clear on what's expected and how to execute it.
Someone who doesn't miss a tackle coming in from the edges, Murray Talangi.
Yeah.
Puts on a good hit when he aims up.
Yep. Muzz is a pretty smart player, when he's dialed in and at his best, we're hard to beat. I think he's only lost 4 games for us this year. One of those, he was on one leg.
He had a bit of a flu or something there for a couple of games too.
Yeah, he's been crook. We had around the Broncos game, we had 4 guys miss training with a chest infection, and we were pretty flat through that game. Muzz was one of them. Griff was another. I can't remember the other 2 off the top of my head, but prior to that, Rubes and Tommy Dearden were crook coming out of the Origin period. So, there's all these different little factors that we've got to weigh in each week, and can work against you. So everyone's fighting fit at the moment. Like I said, we've got Macca's got to get through tomorrow's session, but he trained today and ran well. Tomorrow's a bit more up tempo and a fair bit more volume. So fingers crossed he's good to go because he makes us a better team.
Do you think that's also put us in good stead where, from the outside perspective, and you're talking Sydney media and everything else, looks like the Cowboys have only been going on 3 cylinders this year. I've always said along we're going to win the comp this year as it is. Now come finals, that 4th cylinder, it's about to just kick in and people are going to go, oh, where's this been all year long? Well, it's been a training program, but now it's executed.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I know our best footy's still in front of us. I said that to a couple of my mates in the last couple of weeks. We're pretty strong on the weekend. Yeah, we played a team that was missing a couple of key players, but you can only beat who's in front of you, and the way that we did it was as good as we've played for a long period of time. And we needed to build in September, and we've won a fair few games and got a little bit of momentum. It's about making sure that we are ready to go from the kickoff on Saturday and go for as long as it takes.
Sorry,
You go.
I did hear in a couple of interviews over the last couple of weeks the term attitude heading into the game was, I heard it repeated by a couple of different players, and it was used in both when things went well against Canterbury, but also when things didn't go so well. How much does that attitude vary leading into a game? My understanding is that it's, you'd be showing up with a level of intensity. It's part of your job, but also it's the necessity for what you're doing. And then to hear them talking that they're waning levels, I guess, was probably what they were referencing.
Yep.
How do you set them up for the success?
It's been consistent through the week, what we do day to day. Look, it's human nature to think broader than what's in front of you at different stages. The Melbourne game was a little tricky one. I thought we trained pretty well through the week, but the way that we started that match was indicative of our attitude, and it wasn't just our defence. It was, Muzz comes out and throws a 50-50 ball to Felty right at the line on the first try, first set. Felty catches that, and then Muzz rolls around the corner and tries to offload the ball. So straight there and then I'm thinking, Jesus, that's not what I want to see. I want to see us just, tuck the ball under the wing and run as hard as we can right on the ad line. We've worked pretty hard and extensively throughout the pre-season period on our mental skills and our routines. Like, we know the science behind being consistent and keep doing the same thing sets you up and makes you be able to handle pressure better. The neuroscience behind that, was shown to the boys and explained by a guy called Richard Fry, who does our, he's based in Brisbane, he's a sports psychologist, he's done a really good job for us. He spoke about routines when we're playing at home versus playing away, what that looks like, and that was a little eye-opening for me. Like, I expected our boys to have a better understanding around when we're in a hotel versus, staying in your home. We'd have guys staying up later than usual, Xbox cards, wanting to be around their mates, but, the obligations to actually prepare well for the game, and, made the shift with that, put a fair bit of responsibility on our leaders. Kept a close eye on what we're doing, closer eye on what we're doing when we're in hotels, and our away form has been pretty good and pretty consistent at the after the first month of the competition.
Definitely.
Last time you were here, actually, you spoke about Hess and his energy at training. How's that been this year, managing? He's around, I'm assuming.
Yep. I would love to have him available because his athleticism and the way he carries the ball, and his energy and his talk and his leadership, he makes us so much better. So we've missed that a little bit, put a bit of responsibility on Muzz's shoulders. Muzz can be sparky around the boys, but Muzz can go a little too far some days, and you've got to pull him back. Because Muzz can affect Val, and then Val's chirpy, and then, once that starts, it's, I've got to crack the whip a little bit, or, speak to those boys in particular. But Cohen's been great. He's travelled with our team 3 times, 4 times now, so he's had 4 wins on away trips. And we took him and Jakey Granville down on the weekend to be around the group. Jake's last time, I guess, on the road. And, they're just good people, They don't interrupt anyone's preparation, but they understand the time to be cheeky and the time to clock on. So, I'd really like him available for this final still. I know it's not going to happen, but he fills me with so much confidence, Cohen.
So he's definitely no chance, even off a GF or anything?
He's running, but he's still straight line running. He's probably another 3-4 weeks away from actually a change of direction, but he's bulked up, he's big and strong, and I think he's getting a taste of what it's like to carry a couple extra kilos at the moment. So, he'll be fine for the start of pre-season next year.
Sorry, Rob, just talking about Muzz and Val chirping away and everything. What happens when Drinky gets involved in that? As a coach, how do you pull that in without pissing yourself at the comment and chat that gets thrown around?
The difference between Drinky and the rest of the group is that Drinky's the biggest larrikin we got, and he's off the cuff, and his mouth doesn't shut up. but he can flick the switch and dial straight back into whatever he's got to do, and then he leaves the rest of the group or the guys that he's talking to behind. So he's a unique individual, but you know, I want our boys to have fun and understand or enjoy what we're doing, but there is a sweet spot for us, and I've told the group this, that you know, if we're too amped up and too intense, and you know, we don't play well, and then if we're too loose, you know, there's too much giggling, then we don't play well. We've got a sweet spot where there's some smiles, a couple of jokes, but you know, we've just got to keep it in that bandwidth, and I think we're getting better at that consistently.
Is that part of that lead into, I guess, what went wrong last year?
Yeah, it irked me a couple of games last year where we were at the captain's run and there was just a little looseness that I thought, you know, yeah, they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves, you know, just chill and let it go. And in hindsight, I should have said something, you know, and that's sort of learnt off the back of last year. And if I feel it coming, I'll either talk to the individuals involved or talk to, you know, Rubes or Tommy or Macca to make sure that they pull the group in, or I will say something. So, yeah, it's not it's taken a little bit more control, if that makes sense, you know, without being a control freak.
Oh, it's just keeping it within, like you say, within
Yeah.
that bandwidth,
Yeah.
and identifying where that sweet spot is.
Yeah.
Which all good teams do that in all sports, I've
Yeah,
seen. So,
and the energy, I don't know if I said this last time, but the more I coach, the more I believe in energy of the group and, you know, of the club. You've seen it with the dogs. They just look happy and, you know, you can see their energy as a group and as a club. You saw it last year with the Warriors. It was us the year before, and I feel that we're getting into that spot at the moment. So it's hard to foster and to cultivate, and it's hard to get there, and it can disappear quite quickly. It's just, yeah, well, so you've got to cultivate and foster it, you know, whether it's whole of club activities, wives and partners, you know, try and include them in as much as we can, you know, showing a bit of a lighter side to the coaching staff at different stages, cracking a joke, you know, during video sessions or whatever, you know, it's just it's got to happen organically, but you know, it's something that we think about and try and cultivate as much as we can.
I was going to say, it sounds like there's a real education piece in what you're trying to, both the leadership, but also within the team overall. When you're talking about the neuroscience and things like that, and recognising what you're doing, how it's impacting on people, and going from there.
Yep. Yeah, it all plays its part, and something that, you know, us as a club and coaching staff talk about consistently, and how we're going to handle different days. Some days you need to lift them up. You know, if we've gotten a whack, or you know, we've been travelling for a couple of weeks, and you know, by the end of the week they're going to be pretty tired. It might be something like play a little bit of games, some music, something competitive to get them going. You know, this last couple of weeks, you know, we've been talking about how we need to start fast for, you know, for the final series, and how important games can be won and lost in the first 20 minutes. So we've made sure our sessions start fast and up tempo, rather than doing a couple of drills, whether it's, you know, in small groups, left edge, right edge, middles, whatever it is, all in. And tomorrow we're going straight into it's a 13v13. It's a kick chase type of game where we've only got 4 tackles. It's about, you know, that transition style of footy where the ball's in play, and it might be only 7 minutes, 8 minutes, you know, depending on the quality, but it's, you know, hammers down from the get-go, and, you know, rather than split like I said, and do a couple of little drills pertinent to what's important for those groups, that we start fast and we sort of peel it back as the session goes longer. So, yeah, just all different ways of trying to make sure that we're ready to go.
You spoke about coaching staff. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the interruption to that this close to the finals, how's that going?
Yeah, I've got to say that the club internally did a good job. Things happened over last weekend, so it was Friday. By the time the players were back in on the Monday morning, we kind of shuffled the decks internally. We pushed Steve Shepherd up into that assistant role, who Steve's an accomplished coach. I've worked with him. He was my assistant coach in the under-20s back when I was doing that many years ago here. Then he went down to Mackay Cutters and coached at the Queensland Cup level for a couple of years. And then, for the last 2 years, he's been doing our Pathways, or our Young Guns group. So he's pretty familiar with the group. Good coach, delivers well. And I think a couple of guys that haven't seen him do his stuff were pleasantly surprised. Got a good eye for detail. And then we've brought Mitch Dunn to run in the blue shirt. So again, Mitch Dunn's familiar with the group, and the feedback we got today from the leaders that he was really good and clear and concise with his messaging when he was running the water. But also they felt through the run of the game, he was revving them up with energy and making sure that the boys are running hard and letting them know what they needed to do in terms of who we're getting at, what's in front of you, stuff like that, which is awesome. Yeah, it was a distraction and a headache for me for a couple of days, and it wasn't an easy decision, but I just felt and knew that, as leaders of our club, there is no compromise on our behaviour, and that's why we went the way we did.
Well, the club's been like that for a while. It's not just a recent thing. It's I think it might have been you that mentioned it 2 years ago. There's the no dickhead policy. I don't want to cast aspersions on people, but there is that sort of zero tolerance thing. So
yeah.
I don't think it came as a surprise, not to me, but to most people, that was sort of the result.
Yep. Well, it's a privilege to be involved with our game, and it's an absolute privilege to be part of this club, and I don't take that responsibility lightly, whether you're a player or as a coach. And again, over the past 3-4 years, I've learnt a bit about some decisions that we should have made but didn't make them at the time, and I'm just resolute now that if something happens, or why we did what we did last time, it's the way to go. It's clear for everyone.
Yep. No, that's good.
And just on that as well, obviously losing someone like that with the blue shirt and the energy and direction that he was giving in huddles and everything. Moving forward for next year, are there plans on getting a Maloney replacement like a Thurston or a Michael Morgan, even that's played the game and knows that energy, and then gives you basically a 14th player out on the field? Is there talks of something like that coming along?
I'm just at the moment I'm waiting to see how the next few weeks unfold. I've been really impressed by the two guys I just spoke about. If someone jumps out at me or reaches out, which multiple people have reached out already, it was incredible. Like, as soon as it hit the press, my phone lit up with people looking for a job. I just thought it was a little too soon. And annoyed me in some ways.
Look, I wanted to jump on it when it was there. I saw the opportunity and thought,
I know Michael Luck's phone lit up also with managers offering services to other coaches, but if we're going to go outside of what we've already got, it has to be someone that's going to, stand out, So my mind's not made up either way.
Because you've got to have, if someone's in the blue shirt, they've got to know.
Yeah.
They've got to know you. They've got to know the players. They've got to know the systems.
Yep. And I know you mentioned Jono, but he's so busy. Yeah. Like, Jono's so busy. Morgs has dipped his toe into coaching a little bit. I don't know if he really, really enjoyed it too much. I would also question, did Morgs really enjoy being a footballer, So, great guy. he'll always be welcome inside our club. I'm happy to sit down and have a discussion with him. But, those two guys at the moment have done a terrific job. I know it's only been, 12 days, but they're super experienced and they understand what our club's about, how we do it, the language that we use, and they've got the respect of the players. So there's some important ingredients.
Very much. I better change of tack. I dreamt this one up yesterday. You've no doubt got a bit of a soft spot for the Tigers.
Yep.
For obvious reasons.
Yep.
Do you ever text Benji and offer a bit of advice or a bit of sympathy, or just hang shit on him?
I haven't texted. I texted him. Texted him a while back. They'd lost maybe six, 7 in a row. I just told him to hang in there. Told him to believe in what you're doing, and then they either come with you or they don't. I caught up with Benj, Robbie Farrow and Chris Heineken come over to my place for dinner prior to the game we had up here. They hadn't seen my kids for a lot of years. It was good. We just sat down, we just chewed the fat. It was nothing really about football. But the conversations I've had with Benj spoke about how things turned here, and I just said, look, we're headstrong about getting the right people, and when you get the right people in, things can change quickly. I think they've bought pretty well next year. They've got a good group of kids. They're still going to need more time. There's no doubt they're going to need more time. I just hope the club give him the time, because they'll be in the same position they are 12 months down the track if they move on bench.
Yep.
And I would hope that they're smart enough to realise that hasn't worked for the past decade. So, things can change quickly with the right people and the right personnel, and he just needs to believe in what he's doing and push along with it, because it's his way.
That's that's enough about the Tigers. But I just
change of boardrooms when you look at it, though, wouldn't it? Like, you have a look at how the Cowboys travel with the success off the field in the board for many a years, when it was Greg Tonner or even Peter Jourdain. And now you've got Reeves there as well. Like, you've had longevity of good people off the field, where you look at some of the other players at other teams that are just not quite there, I think. So you'd have a good support network up here for sure.
Yep. I feel very lucky that I'm involved with this club. The resources available to a town that's only 200,000 people. You look at our building, you look at our stadium. I know our members travel near and far for game day. We're quite visible in the community. We can have a proper effect on people's wellness, I guess. The economy can go up and down with our fortunes, so that responsibility weighs a little bit. The social responsibility can weigh on the group. We talk about it a little bit, and we want to be a source of pride for the town, the community. So, our club and our board, they're not reactionary. I feel well supported. They just okayed a charter flight to come home, which was a significant outlay. They've never told me no if I mount a decent enough a case, whether it's equipment, signings, sackings. So I feel well supported, from top to bottom here, and good clubs are built on good people, and our town and our club are full of them. So, very fortunate.
I know our listener numbers go up when the club's doing well.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. No one wants to hear the bad news.
Yeah.
But it works out well. Is there a method to the madness? We had the team list just come out before, but is there a method to the madness when the team list gets a decent shake up an hour out from kickoff? Madness from our point.
Just trying not to give the opposition a full understanding of, if someone's inexperienced or someone's in a bit of doubt or whatever. I don't know how much of effect it has. I really don't, but it just makes me feel better.
Yep. Mind games.
Yeah. You're talking about this week in particular, or
not necessarily?
Week?
I've only had a very quick look at that.
Sometimes players are named in those numbered jerseys because of sizing too. So
I think Ben mentioned that a few weeks
don't
ago.
don't always think that, you know, because Kuli Kefu was named in whatever number he wore on the weekend, he was never part of the 17. It was just the jerseys have got certain numbers and certain sizes, and that can be part of it. Mind games.
A little bit. And I suppose there's method in the madness to having someone like Jackson Purdue on the bench and just bringing him on right towards the end of a game. Obviously, just to give him minutes, but...
Yeah. Oh, look, he's been a tough spot for a while now, Jacko. You know, I told him he's always there for cover, you know, if something happened in the OBs. And, you know, probably the 1 week I won't put him in, you know, something happens to an OB and we've got to move Sam McIntyre out there.
Yep.
But I thought, you know, for a kid that's never played centre in his life, when he played centre in first grade, he did an outstanding job. So that just shows me his talent. And then he could cover fullback. We threw him into the middle. He played lock, another ball playing running lock for, you know, it was only 8-9 minutes, but he handled that pretty well. He's got high-end ability, and I've got a high opinion of him, and the players respect him and like what he offers the team. And you know, Tommy Chester was probably a little bit lucky. You know, he got injured when he got injured, because that'd probably be him. But Jacko come in and did the job, and that's why he's been involved with our 17, I guess, for the past 5 or 6 weeks.
Because Jacko's a halfback originally, isn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
So you'd have a bit of a wealth of that. Obviously, Chad moving on, but with Jacko, and also Tom Duffy killing it up in the Pride, like that's a good abundance. Do you see a world where all three of them, and you have one player in a Granville 14 role, or
potentially? Yeah. Yep. There's every possibility that might happen. Tommy Chester's another one that can play 14. And that was part of the decision of, you know, not offering Chad another contract. It was because we're a Pathways club. Our guys, well, particularly one or two of them, might have got the shits and said, I want out, and I'm getting blocked. And, you know, the thing that Tommy Duffy's shown me this year, that he's ready for first grade, him and Jake Clifford have been the best two halves in the Q Cup space. And, you know, different type of halves, both of those guys. But, you know, Duff's filled out physically, and he's fit enough to stay in games for long periods. He's a great kick for goal, which is, you know, a good feather in his cap. And, you know, I spoke to Cliffo, you know, during his contract negotiations. He came in my office and said he wanted a 2-year contract. I said, listen, I would too, but this is the reason why we want to stick to 12 months. We've got yourself, we've got Jackson, we've got Tom Duffy, and it's basically a 3-way shootout, you know, during the off-season for that starting spot next year. Cliffo's got his nose in front at the moment. But, you know, competition makes our squad better. Tommy did, and we'll be our 5'8". There's also a thought to potentially move Tommy to 7 and one of those 3 guys in the 6. So we've got all that to play out in the off-season. That's a next year headache, and we've got another month of footy to worry about first.
Speaking of headaches, though, how much is it? Ty Williams still the coach of the Pride, or has he moved on?
No, Eric Smith.
That's
Eric Smith.
How much did he go, mate? I've had these guys for the last 20 weeks. You're now taking me star half out.
Yeah,
you're killing me, Ty.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to coach when you're a Q Cup coach and you're a feeder to a senior NRL side. So 1 week you might get 6 players back, and then on the Friday afternoon you might get told that you're getting no players back. And if you look at the Sunny Coast the last couple of weeks in the Melbourne Storms feeder club, pardon me, the week against us, you know, they rested so many players and pulled all of their players out of that team. And then again on the weekend, I don't think any Storm players went back and they got beat, so they're out of the competition. So, it's, I can only imagine, how tough that would be from a week-to-week point of view. And they've just got to have an understanding that, you know, your role within our system is to produce and celebrate the guys that go up to first grade. You've done a really good job, and that's what you should be celebrating rather than wins and losses.
Yep.
Is there an off-season goal-kicking competition to see who's the best to replace Val?
Yeah, I think we've got some very capable kickers. I will be talking to Jono about coming in and doing some sessions around our goal kicking. I mentioned Tom Duffy, Zachy Laybuck can kick a ball. Viliami Voilee is a very good kick. Drinky's had some kicks in first grade. I watched Muzz slot him all the time after trainings. Yeah, Muzz is pretty talented at most things. Basketball, some of the stuff I've seen him do in and around the facilities, impressive. We've got a decision to make, but we've got to put some work into those guys. But if I'm looking right now, Tom Duffy's the best goal kicker within the club outside of Val.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, he's been kicking them for the pride too. So,
My brother-in-law, Drew, he's a big Tigers fan, and so when we played him down in Leichhardt, he said, what a great idea this is. You've got Drinky left foot on one side and then Clifford kicking. Is there that toy of an idea of just if we score on the right-hand side, Drinky, you're kicking, and if it's on the left-hand side, we're going to chuck a righty?
That's probably a next year decision and a headache. I'm happy to do whatever works.
Yeah.
You know, I do like having a left foot kicking option within the team in general play, and we've seen Drinky take a little bit more control in that part of our game too in the last month. So,
well, not just him. There's about a good 3 or 4 kickers.
Yeah.
Probably more that I can't think of any time.
Yep.
During normal play. So,
yep.
If we don't know who's kicking it, then the opposition don't.
Yeah, and our right edge over the past 2 years have been, the guys that have spent the most petrol on kick chases, and I think it's important that you balance that up a little bit. So, you're not spending Meyer, Viliami, Feldy's petrol, just, kick chasing. And, we've got a kick plan this week, as we do every other week. But, it's important that we just don't cook them. Mm.
Felty especially, I think that tank's getting a bit smaller as he gets older.
And slower.
He said
hope he doesn't watch this.
He said it himself at least. He said he's a little slower with the old 32-year-old legs. Or
He was sucking in the big ones on the weekend after.
It was a good break though.
It was brilliant.
But then other times he's been one of the fastest accelerators in the club at times as well.
Yeah, he's quick off the mark, but he had 80 metres to run.
Yeah.
So, and Muzz was on the treadmill too, that last 15 metres.
Yep.
So, and again, that's a product of the different system that we've had. We've had multiple intercepts this year, whereas in the 2 years previous, I don't think we had any. So, that's some of the detail about getting in the passing lane, staying up on the cliff, which is what we call it, and we're together in a line and make the decisions based on our principles. So, it's taken a while, like I said, and we've got it finally.
Is that the kind of thing you'll adjust? I'm sure you will, depending on your opposition. And is there a particular opposition you're not looking forward to in the next couple of weeks, potentially?
Ourselves. Our own biggest enemy. We're our own worst enemy. So I'm quite happy just to take on the opposition and not take on us and the referee at the same time. So we get our part right, we're going to be hard to handle. As far as the opposition, I think Penrith and Melbourne deserve to be favourites. Melbourne done an awesome job all year long. Penrith know how to win, and the defence has been sound for a long, long time. And then I think there's some other really good teams that can also go all the way too. So it's about getting your game right week after week for the next month.
One step at a time.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is the eye on the week after, or is it always just this game in front and that's it?
Yeah, no. It's on this week, but I've constantly said the past 6-7 days that we've got a month of footy left. Without that's what I've said. It's not looking too far ahead. I'm just reminding the boys that there's a month of footy and our best footy's in front of us.
Yeah. And so on that as well, when we do win the GF, Is there going to be another rural trip with the trophy? And how does someone from this pod get on that?
If that happened, I don't think it'd be a problem. Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Doesn't matter. I'm actually booked in for a trip out west from the 11th of October with the old man anyway, so we'll probably catch you out there somewhere.
I'd like to focus here in Townsville.
Yeah.
You know, for a good week. Yeah.
Yep. So Mad Monday's an open invite?
Mad Monday's more than one day if you win a competition. So.
What's your least favourite TV show at the moment, other than NRL 360?
Yeah, I've kind of gone away from, like, I was reading a heap, and now I've gone back to watching TV. I've got a TV in my room. Me and my wife sleep separately. It just works. I'm up
who's
early.
The snorer?
I'm a snorer. She's a light sleeper. I'm up early, going to bed early. She's up later. She gets out of bed a little later, so it just works for us. It has done for a long time. And instead of reading before I go to bed, I've been watching Seinfeld and Friends are kind of on TV,
right.
you know. So I'll just watch that, and Seinfeld's a great show.
What season are you up to at the moment?
I don't know, whatever season it's up to. It runs continually on 9Go or something like that. So just watch an episode of that and nod off.
Jeez, that would amp me up. I couldn't watch just one episode.
Yeah, no. I think there's might be only 2 shows back to back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah. The marine biologist is always a good one.
Do you have any thoughts on? This is one of our listener questions. Thoughts on milking slowly becoming part of the game?
Yeah, it is, and it's because the rules allow it to. I was talking to Justin Morgan, our assistant coach. Do we need to do a little more of it? Because Jakey Clifford got smashed in the back on the weekend, and I'm certain if he laid down for a little longer, kicks gets 10 in the bin.
Yeah.
I look at, it was a send-off at Tigers with Olam smashing Helam straight in the jaw. And it was a right call, but Helam jumped straight up. You know?
Yep.
I look across the competition, and if anyone lands on the neck and there are some better teams at it than others, but I want to win too. If it's going to help us to win, we had a discussion, is it time to talk to the players about, just not being so freaking honest, and
don't be so tough.
But that has been a bit of the NQ fabric for a long time.
And that's what one of the parts I love about our group. They just get on with it. Like I said, we had that discussion yesterday with Morgs, and if it can help us get a penalty, I'm all for it. But I don't want to take it too far either, because we've got some good actors.
Not going to be soccer.
I've noticed something in the last, probably this year more than anything. We seem to be giving away a lot of repeat sets on our when we're coming off the try line, off our goal line. Is that intentional, or are the refs thinking that we're going too early?
I'll tell you, this is my personal opinion. I don't think we're consistent enough at it across the 13, and that's why we probably get stung a little more often than the better teams. When I say better teams, the teams have been doing it for a long, long time. So every team's trying to push the boundaries.
Yeah.
Part of the ruck infringement annoys me is that if it wasn't going to be a full-blown penalty, then don't call the ruck infringement.
Yeah.
That's the part that irks me. And I think that they can do it. Sometimes it goes in I know that they've got ears in their. They've got mic in their ears from a coach, and I'm certain that they're getting updated on the penalty count. And is it to even it up at different stages?
Feels like it.
Yeah, feels like it. But the part that annoys me the most is the fact that if it's not a full-blown penalty, then don't just call a ruck infringement for the sake of calling a ruck infringement. We've been working really, really hard about, pushing the boundaries as much as the other teams. And, there was a game at Shark Park, and we got
walloped.
We didn't turn up. Yeah. We got it walloped. But shown some clips to the boys where we were actually moving and bouncing off tackles before the referee had called move, you know. And that just ties in with that honesty. We're too honest, we're too nice, and we've gotten better at it. Then I showed him some clips against Penrith when we played them here, and the referees calling to move, called Dylan Edwards offside 3 times on their try line, but nothing was done, you know. And you know, I just wanted to highlight that, you know, they've been doing it for a long time and they get away with it so often. We've got to get to where they are and look where we're starting from. So if we can push the boundaries a little more and squeeze as much out of each tackle as possible, that'll make us a harder team to score against. And again, it's been a slow burn, but I feel like everyone's got a good understanding now of what they can and can't do in terms of timing at the ruck.
It does feel like that, now that you say it, that is happening more in the tackle, that we're sort of laying down a bit, not laying down, you know, too
Trying
much,
to be
but
heavier.
trying to get.
Yep.
It's a good way to phrase it.
Yep.
Putting them on their back, not their front.
Yep, and even just little strategies like, you know, toothbrush we call it, squeeze or wheel them around, just turn them a bit off centre. You know, just every half second you can move 3-4 metres in, you know. So the more time we can get in each tackle, the better chance we've got to get our D-line set and be in the right position, and we'll make better decisions because of it.
I do notice this. Well, everyone probably notices that the Storm does that very well, as in the tackle, rolling people onto their back.
Yep.
And one thing I noticed with Mako, very rarely goes onto his back.
Yep.
He's a big boy, I can understand.
He's hard to get on his back, but when he tackles, he's our best defender. We keep a stat whether they win or lose tackles, and our target's above 80%, and he's been above 80% for 90% of the season when he plays, you know. And you know, on the weekend we had Jace at 90%, which was his best for the season. Jakey Clifford was 100%, you know, for all his tackling. So it's something that we look at and try and quantify.
Jake Clifford's kick chase too is unbelievable. Jeez, he's quick.
Yep.
And is that something you just look at through the week as well, or is he very much his own decision maker?
No, it's a coordination between the spine and the kickers. Hesse used to do it quite a bit, you know, that high kick around the fullback at the post. He'd get up and contest. There's a lot of value because the fullback's isolated. This week, I guess with Kalen being Kalen, we don't really want to give him too much space in the centre of the park because it puts pressure on our ruckies to make sure that they're really honest on that kick chase. So without giving our kick plan away, we want to be putting it in corners as much as we can.
Yep. I think last time you played Knights, it was put Kalen in a corner every kick anyway, so I can't see that changing.
No.
Sorry, Trent, I thought you had a question.
I thought you had a question too. Yeah, no.
I did before. I was going to just talk about tackling and getting the guys on their back. And how much wrestling practice comes into it? Is it sort of standard throughout the season? Is it something that's sort of discussed? Is it not discussed?
No,
I just
it's
figured
discussed.
sprawl.
We've got a contact wrestle coach.
Yep.
So he cuts every tackle, and you know, if there's a trend for individuals, he makes sure he gets them and you know, goes through the clips and then does some extra practice with them. Today we did some tackling out in the field. Pre-season's 3 combat sessions a week.
Yeah, wow.
You know, plus our 13v13 stuff out in the field. That doesn't happen till, you know, later in December and early January, but the amount of collision and contact would blow you away. Yeah. I guess something that's probably changed within our group is, you know, I know there's a couple of teams that invest heavily on 3-man tackles. We're finding that the under and over tackle 2-man tackles with the body shapes we've got and the type of tacklers we got are playing a more prominent role within our defensive sets, and we're getting better value out of that a lot of the time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So with combat, sorry, with combat wrestling and fighting, is that something done locally, like through kickboxing gym? I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like a Ronin or Courage or something like that.
So we call it combat is our wrestle sessions, more or less. Yeah. So in the pre-season we have one where it's basically more or less a cardio and bash up session, not too focused on the technical side of it, and it's just about getting reps done time and time again, and it's probably the most dreaded session of the week for the players. In the old days, back at the old stadium, that was done outside, so they've got the luxury of being indoors on a mat in air conditioning. So that's the added advantage of where we are now. That's in full kit, proper jerseys, and then the other session's a bit more technical. Starting at the wrestle part on the ground on your knees, and then we get into actually collisions. We've got the big jump mats now where we actually land on the ground. They get that sensation of hitting through rather than just trying to catch and wrestle from there. So it is an extensive part of our program, and it is for all programs, to be fair.
Yeah. It's just it reminds me what you said there of like the call it the luxury of being able to do it with the air conditioning and everything like that. It does sort of sound like it's for want of a better word, I've heard it in fighting, training pretty.
Yeah.
Where you're bringing in everyone and it's like, they're brought in to make them look good, and does that sort of eke into it a little bit where it's...
Come to a session.
There's a difference between when the forwards tackle each other and the backs tackle each other, let me tell you.
Yeah.
There's a clear difference, So I guess next year we're probably going to split them differently. The backs and forwards do make different kinds of tackles. But next year we're definitely going to split them up and where they are in their actual technical ability. Because we found that, the guys that aren't technically sound are putting themselves and the others around them at risk of injury. And we're spending a lot of time on them coaching. So next year we'll have a novice group, I guess, and then an intermediate group, and then the guys that are really, really strong defenders, they do their tackling in those types of groups and sessions. So but you can't train pretty, I guess what I'm looking at in terms of being pretty is, I don't want our sessions, I know we're going to drop the ball, and I don't want it to look fluffy and perfect all the time, because that's not what the game looks like. I've got to suck up a few errors because, that's where it's okay to make them at trainer.
Yeah.
You need to iron out the kinks. You've got to understand why things aren't working. But if it's a concentration error or a decision of a shit pass, they're the ones that frigging annoy the shit out of me. But understand if we're trying a new move or, you've got a different player in that position, the timing's just not quite right, and there's an error off the back of that, then, you got to swallow them.
Yeah,
sometimes. They can't always be perfect.
And it's something we're getting better at recovering from.
Yeah. Yep.
As the year goes on.
Correct. Yeah. Games pretty difficult, and you've got to move past things quickly and dive into the next job. And again, I think we got better at that. But we're also making less of them too. So it's important.
This game's not getting any slower.
No, it's. I don't think they can change the rules anymore to make it any quicker.
Don't say that.
No.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh.
But PVL, if you're listening,
no
quicker.
No, I don't think they can. I think our product's in a good spot, and tinkering with it now is going to change, I guess, the fabric of the game again. I don't want the bigger guys to be eroded out of the game. You're seeing a shift in some of the smaller middle forwards coming in. Our game's always been built for everyone. Yes, we're geared towards the athlete more than the footballer nowadays, but if the footballer is professional and he can get his body right, there's still a place for him in the game.
Yeah.
So I think it's quick enough.
Do you think the weather plays a big part up here? Do we have an advantage anymore like we used to?
I grapple with that one from time to time. I think it is an advantage at some stages, but at the start of the season, I don't think it's a great advantage for us because of the compound effect of residual heat day after day after day after day in that summer period. I have seen it regularly during the months of December and January, and I don't know what point it is or what temperature it is or the humidity factor, but once they get past a certain point, the boys become zombies and they move slower. They're trying their rings out, but they just look in slow-mo. So we try and negate that as much as we can. We've changed days, training times. We've had a couple of really hot days in the last summer in December, and we shuffled the week around just to try and navigate the best way through it. But probably over the next month, it's probably an advantage if we played at home. We've come out of the cooler months, and you've seen traditionally over the past decade, 15 years, that we start the season slow. And then once it cools off up here, we traditionally play better and get better results. I can't quantify it with any real science behind it, but my gut feeling is it's the residual effect of training and living in the heat day after day after day. And I can only imagine how hard it would be for guys that are out on the job site in those months. God.
Yeah, it's not fun.
That's not you, Peter.
Yeah.
That is me.
Trade is not electrician.
I'm an office man. I wouldn't have a clue. Do you find though
Put the
that
solar system on in summertime, it's not fun.
a lot of times in commentary during even mid-year, there'll be talk of a game up here and there's a lot of humidity in the air, and that's the reason for a lot of dropped ball. And we'll be sitting around, the office guys, going, this isn't humid at the moment.
Yeah. That'd be different for southern clubs. I have a chuckle too when I talk to some people that I know at another club and go, "Geez, it's hot."
It's 12 degrees here.
Yeah, but for the first month of the competition and probably the last month, the ball becomes really, really slippery with the sweat, and then those middle months, the sweat's not so prominent, and the balls that are sweaty are like cakes of soap. So that can affect ball handling, and we should be better at that, no doubt, with the experience.
How do you get better at that? Do you sandpaper the ball and put it in oil when you go out to train?
Sandpaper the ball.
Yeah, take the grip off the ball.
We don't need to. Like for the summer months, it's
saturated.
It's like we get plenty of practice day after day with it. So if I was an opposing coach coming up here at the start of the season, I'd be putting soap or liquid soap on the balls and doing a couple of sessions. Will it help? Who knows? But it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
How long's the off season? So if let's say you get all the way through to the grand final, a couple of weeks off, a month?
Yep. So players get 7 and 9 weeks depending on experience or depending on how many full-time pre-seasons they've done. So if they've done 3 or less, they only get 7 weeks. If they've done 4 or more, they get 9 weeks. From my point of view, probably in the office for another week to 10 days after we finish, exit interviews, bit of a review and debrief with staff and players. I'll probably get a good 3 weeks out of the office and then back in and start planning, if I haven't already started on my holidays, just about what's happening.
Do you get the, when you're on holidays with the family, Dad, put the phone down?
Get that every day. Yeah.
But especially on holidays.
Yeah. Yep. But they're not too bad,
Your kids are a bit older now, though.
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're on their own phones. So, if that's...
It's the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, so this year we've booked a little time in Bali, and either side of that, I'm probably going to be in the office. Yeah.
That's for yourselves, as in your family, or is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Get away.
How long in Bali?
8 days, 8 nights. Sorry.
That's a lot of bentang.
It's just enough.
Hopefully, it'll be right. Yeah.
I was interested in Vegas.
Mm.
How much consideration is given? How much of a distraction is it?
Yeah.
How do you weigh it up?
There was a lot of excited members of the staff, and then there was a lot of players encouraging me to put our hands up. But I've got to say that between myself, Justin Morgan, Michael Luck, and Jeff Robel had 1 foot in each camp, we weren't keen for this year. And there's a few reasons because of that. We travel enough, first and foremost. Also wanted another year to look at how the other teams have handled it, how it's affected their season, where they stay, how they travelled, how they handled their time, whether they split it, at a training base outside of Vegas, or they stayed in Vegas the whole time. I just wanted a little bit more of a sample size, I guess, to work out what's going to be best for us. We'd have to go to Brisbane. I know that's only half a day, but still half a day added onto our travel.
It's decent travel.
Yeah. It'll happen. I just wanted a longer look at the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And what you can do over there. Obviously, you're there for work.
Yeah.
But Vegas, it's like, all right, guys, we'll go an extra 3 days earlier.
Yeah.
Stay another 2 days later because you get the bye week anyway.
Correct.
But to corral that,
Yep.
25 people under one
it's like
umbrella.
herding cats in Vegas. I've been there a few times, and I don't know, it wasn't for work, but there's a few distractions. We've got some thoughts around, being completely distant from it and getting late, and then have a night out afterwards, or get there early and say, listen, you've got 24 hours. I'll see you back here and get it out of your system. Yeah. But once we're back here, she's working. Making sure that everything's planned from a day-to-day point of view, so they haven't got a lot of free time. If we do something, we do it together, like go to a show or whatever it may be. I'm unsure, but they're the two trains of thought at the moment. But again, going to have a look at what the teams do this year.
Yeah.
Would you entertain State of Origin if they asked? And I'm assuming you mean coaching in that. So this is one of your questions.
Not really. No, I think that's become so big that it would be a complete distraction for me with our club, or in any club, any coach with a club team. Because you've got to watch and pick the best 17, and you're watching enough footy as it is. And you're managing your own people a lot without taking on that extra workload. I love sitting down and watching it, but I have no desire to coach while I'm coaching here.
It was a bit better year this year to watch for you.
It was, yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Do you pull Robbo aside when he comes back and
no?
How good was that?
Yeah, no. So congratulations. Also, I'm also very conscious of what it means to those other guys. Don't rub it in. I know it makes our group better. Our boys that aren't involved in it get a real kick out of seeing our boys do really well. We put a plan together around who was going to back up after which games. Early in the piece, I can't remember exactly what we did, but a couple backed up after the first one. I think it was the second one, we didn't have anyone back up.
That's when we played Roosters? Or
Yeah.
No, we played them before then.
Yeah, we played them without our Origin players. For the second one, I don't think we backed up anyone. For the third one, the arrangement was, I'll give you guys a rest and some extra days off after the second game. But knowing that, can't remember who we played after the third one, I expect us all to back up if he's fit and ready to go. So I've learned a fair bit of lessons out of last year, through that origin period. Obviously, because of our ladder position, played all of those boys, and then for the last month of the competition, we had some of those guys running on fumes, and we lost our last month of footy leading it pushed us out of the finals.
Just on origin as well, obviously you wouldn't want to coach as well, because the longer you live up here, the more you get Maroon into your blood. Or
Yeah, I've got Queensland kids.
Yeah, how good's that?
My eldest, because he's at boarding school in Sydney, he's definitely jumped back to the other side. While he was here, obviously being close to our players, he was only 6 when he left Sydney, but he would have barracked for the Maroons. But now he's back in Sydney. He's definitely a Blues supporter.
One series win and he turns.
Yeah, I know. He's impulsive, the eldest, so he could change back eventually or quickly.
Yeah.
And then the other two, they'd probably cheer for Queensland, if anyone, and I'm neutral.
How long does Dad have to live up in God's country before he does?
I'll never be an out-and-out Maroon.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be Switzerland for the next 20 years. I love this town and I don't want to move, and the club's great. So, yeah.
Speaking of Switzerland, we do have a supporter in Switzerland.
Yeah, right. Hello.
His question is, what's worst in meeting Pistol Pete after a match at the Leagues Club? The panicking or the chat?
The fuck?
He must be a close friend of yours, isn't he?
Yes, he's very good at...
We've had a couple of beers together before.
Several.
He's actually been listening since episode 2.
Yeah, okay.
Just loves the Cowboys and was looking online and found us.
He's an Aussie
No,
living
he's
abroad.
He's German.
Right.
His sister,
Claudia.
works here in
Okay.
Townsville.
Yep.
And he was over for visiting the family.
Yep.
They took him to a footy game and he fell in love. Had never watched rugby league before that.
Yep.
Fell in love with the Cowboys and rugby league. And now he works from home. I think he's a coder or something.
Right.
And has about 7 screens around him. He watches every game of Super League,
Yep.
every game of NRL. I think he watches French rugby. I don't know. It's
Yep.
just a bit of everything, including reserve grade. He's got his own podcast over there.
Yep.
And he's a absolute fanatic.
And regardless of the time zone, he always watches cows.
Gets up
Wow.
and watches cows regardless. 'Cause
3
it's about 2
a.m.
a.m. whatever
their
over
phone's
there.
going off, yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. That's
He's
cool.
all over it. So, and he's one of our first subscribers, one of our first listeners, and
Yep.
Carsten he's on the ball.
Yeah, cool. We had the multi-sport event weekend. Who did we play? We played the Raiders, I think. And we have the jersey draw, back at the Lease Club. And the guy that won it was over here from Texas, competing in the event in a wheelchair. And just got talking to him after the jersey presentation. And his story was quite inspiring. Him and his wife are here. They had full Cowboys kit on. He'd won the jersey. He was a Cowboys NFL supporter back home. And in the week leading up to his event, we got him in for some recovery and some physio, just around his training. And he donated some shirts, and it was cool. Yeah, it was what he did and how he competed, and just the interactions and how grateful he was for it all was unbelievable. Yeah.
Excellent. Is there a chance, you mentioned the jerseys, is there a chance of that retro jersey getting more of a run?
To play in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how often we're allowed to do it. There would be NRL rules around it, no doubt. But I didn't mind them. They sold out pretty quickly.
Very.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
There's another jersey that there's a bit of a campaign with some of the long-time fans going for the 95 retro.
Okay.
For a version of that to hit the field.
Is that the white with the yellow?
4X,
okay. Yeah, I think next year's has got a bit of a throwback taste to it.
Because it's next year's Is it the
30
30th?
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be mint.
Yeah.
So if you can put a word in.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
And bring back
Only if
collars
you-
as well.
Yeah, that collar on that retro jersey was
Yeah,
mint.
we should bring back the 3/4 sleeves. What do you
Yeah,
reckon?
for sure.
Yeah.
Probably don't want them loose though.
No,
'cause-
no.
And cotton only as well, not polyester. Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing it properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was Carson's question after all that?
That was just about you
Oh,
and
right.
meeting you in the club all the time.
Oh, we get along great.
Yeah.
And we shake hands.
Always.
We leave each other be. Good game.
I'll bet.
Can I get a photo with you with the panicking on your head? Yeah, no worries. What's in it? Shit, you smell like a rum brewery.
How long have you been drinking for? How many you had?
4 this hour.
By the time I get to the club, probably anywhere between 8 and 10.
So you go to the game,
Yep.
obviously. Yep. You don't drink at home, and then come in the club.
No, so this
Sometimes.
week, yeah, mostly like depending on kickoff and time of starts, you might go and have one beforehand, 1 or 2, have half a dozen or so on the hill or
Yep.
at the game, and then come to the stadium.
On the hill.
Well, that's what we call it, Clifford's Corner.
Clifford's Corner, yes.
But
Yes, we-
other days can be different. Like this final's 10 to 8. It's a Saturday. There's no work Sunday.
Yeah. Look out.
Could be a
That's perfect storm.
long lunch.
Yep.
We have named. It's the northeastern corner,
The big screen end.
big screen
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
So we stand up the back there.
Yep.
And we had called it the Homestead for a while,
Yep.
as in homes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yep.
It's now Clifford's Corner.
Yep.
And then what's your new section? Halfway down on the
Yeah,
western
on that
side.
eastern side. Yeah. There's a little bar sort of thing. It's Drinky's dugout.
So you've got tickets and sorted this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be there, 100%.
Good.
Wouldn't miss it. We did have an audio question from your brother, in fact. You said last time you were on here that the players going into 2022, there was only 3 without finals, national or origin experience. It was Drinky, Robbo and Griff. Have you had a look at the team this year yet in terms of that?
No, but off the top of my head, probably Cooley. Harry Edwards, Sam McIntyre,
Viliami.
Billy Army, yeah. So he's had played for Tonga
New Zealand or Tonga.
Yeah. And maybe Clifford, although he's had the overseas experience. Whether that's,
I don't know if he's played in the final yet, Cliffo. Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm just looking at the team list now. And, Griff. But,
He's
yeah,
played
just
New Zealand.
good re-signing for him this week.
Yep, awesome. Nice kid, works hard, wants to get better. Still his best footy's well in front of him. We expect him to be at the club for a long time and take over that senior big body in the middle from Macca when Macca pulls up stumps. And like I said, he just works hard. He playing well and doing well. He's got that fire in the belly.
Has he taken to the name, the Big Red Dragon?
Yeah,
Kindly,
actually
or-
gets it quite a bit. Yeah, he doesn't enjoy it, and that's what fires everyone up to keep stinging it his way. So he's got multiple nicknames. Old Griff. He's a bit of a target, but he cops it pretty well and he gives it back just as much.
Yeah. I remember meeting you at Magic Round, and since he's been on as well, and said, "Oh, hey, Dragon," and you hear a few people snickering,
Goes out in
going,
front of the hotel there. Yeah, no, he gets it a bit.
Just also on the Cooley Cafe, we talked about a few people leaving at the end of the year. Obviously, the big 4 that we've all discussed. Cooley's moving on, and retention or re-signing wise, I've only seen Carl Lawton. How do you plan him to try and be a replacement for Cooley?
No, we've signed a kid called Kai O'Donnell from Lee. He's been playing in the Super League. He's in the final 4 of the Men of Steel. So he's had a really good year. He's a Mackay kid from memory, so he's a bit of a local. He's done some pathway stuff here. He's very similar body shape to Rubes, but try scorer, fit, works really hard. So there's our backup. Yeah, Carl Lawton's played on the edge back row for Manly. He played on the edge back row when I was at the Warriors for a couple of games. He's a younger version of Jake Granville. You know, happy team kid, loves what he does for a job. Hooker by trade, but can play anywhere within the forward pack and potentially in the centres if something happens. So, we've got a couple of young kids who I think can potentially slide into the back row with a bit of development. But again, that's a whole heap of work we've got to get it done across the pre-season. Very sad for Cooley to go, but I completely understand why. He's from Ipswich and his family have been up here for a long time. Our offer was short of what he got offered to go home, and he's decided to go back. So,
It's a good sign, though, from the club perspective. I remember when Hodges left Broncos to go to the Roosters, Wayne didn't play him for the whole season. At least, right, I know you leave him, but you're definitely part of the plans where we're keeping you in, whereas other coaches may have gone, oh, well, you're not here next year, I don't need you now.
Yeah. Don't know what that would achieve for our team. He can play the kid. He's a great foil to come off the bench, whether it's for half an hour, 50 minutes. He has a real impact, and he's hard to tackle, and he's running at not great defenders more often than not. So, yeah.
And you've also got another young one with a bugger of a name, Marley Bittingani.
Yep.
He seems like something big and prosperous coming through too.
Yeah, he's a middle forward. I guess he started in the Melbourne system, long time ago. He's been up here now for a couple of years. He's worked really hard. He's pretty mobile. He's been our 18th man because of his form over the past 6 weeks at the Pride. And, he can play first grade, there's no doubt. Yeah. Another pre-season will be great for his development. He's got the respect of the team and coaching staff, and keeps his head down and doesn't get too ahead of himself. He could potentially play first grade for us quickly.
Yeah. Any chats with Regan Campbell-Gillard? I can turn these down if you want to.
Yeah. No, I don't know where he's going.
No.
There was some interest from us. Yeah, there was. Yeah. His management reached out to us, seeing if we're interested. Regan wanted to change the scenery. We spoke about it. I spoke with the kid. He was keen to come up. He wanted 3 years. We were only at 2, just given his age. Then I think the Dragons come in over top of us, but he's not there. I know that for a fact. There must be someone else that's come in for him. I thought his last 6 weeks of footy has been pretty strong. He's a big body. He's got an aggressive streak in him, so he could have, again, just helped ease that transition of Jordan, leaving the club. So it wasn't to be. Yeah.
It does feel like the dominoes have fallen pretty quickly as things have unfolded in the last month or so.
Yep.
Is there still more that you'd want to achieve as far as any particular names out there that you...
We're still in the market for a middle forward. Cash is the challenge.
Yep.
And
plenty of sunshine.
There's going to be so much more movement over the next month, 2 months, 3 months within rosters. So, we're not in an immediate hurry. We know what type of player we want. We want someone that's going to make an impact or change us for the better, rather than getting a depth player. I think our squad's pretty healthy in terms of our top 30 and how many NRL players we've got within it. So my first year, I reckon we had 21 NRL players. We had a lot of kids, and it come back to bite us after a couple of career-ending injuries for Michael Morgan, Justin O'Neill. Then we made some decisions around moving players on. There was 3 guys that left before round 6, and we were a little light on the ground, and we had some injuries, and we lost 10 in a row. So we learnt quickly that you've got to have guys in your top 30 that can play first grade.
Ready to go.
And I reckon we're at 27 at the moment, and next year we're pushing up higher than that. And you've seen when we've had no Origin players how well we've done, and that's part of the reason. You know, our squads runs quite deep.
A big surge is Tom McKaylee coming on. He runs from the back fence, and he's obviously putting his hand up to take every opportunity as well.
And Tommy come here for a trainer trial at the start of the pre-season. We didn't have a spot available. Kept his head down. He was here for the right reasons. You know, first conversation with Tommy was that, you know, he was part of the Tiger squad at a young age. He came out of Keebra Park. He took the game for granted. Wasn't doing it for the right reasons early on. He got moved around. He went over to England. You know, his son had some learning difficulties and needed to come home for the right treatment, and he was just looking for an opportunity, and you know, we gave him one, and they've settled in great. His work ethic and his attitude's been first class. He's been, you know, in and out of our side, which is not always fun and not always easy, but when he's been in the team, carries the ball really strong. He's a point of difference for us, and he's unlucky to not be in our 17 this weekend.
Without giving too much away, what is the focus for this weekend?
Well,
Kick it to Kalen.
Don't kick it to Kalen and run different arrows.
Yeah. Spoken about the starts of our matches. So there's a focus on that. And then just earning the right, you know, not being loose with how we're playing. And we showed when we put the opposition in corners and keep things pretty simple out of our own end, we can be hard to handle, and then just building pressure through field position and possession. And it's the same message we give them every week. To be fair, it's just wrapped up and packaged a little different, but we've stripped it right back this last week or two. So games aren't won on big plays moving forward; they're won on big efforts, and we need to get the effort part right.
And when we are on the roll and everything, like I think of the Raiders game I think we're 42-4 up with 20 minutes to go. And Dogs obviously on the weekend up by about 46 with another 15 to go.
Yeah.
When I've got 10 on them at 150-1 to win by 51 plus, is there a chance we can just keep the blowtorch going?
So who did I take off in? I took Drinky off in
the Raiders game,
games.
yeah.
Yep.
And Robbo when we needed it any time.
And Robbo. Robbo's carried a little bit of a hamstring niggle, so that the decision around was just purely moving forward. But I can be completely honest about your super coach and about your punting antics. I couldn't give a flying.
Not at all. We have had the Tigers one last year where we got 51 plus, so just once a year it's always nice to dish in.
You're still drinking off the back of that one.
We still are, yeah. We've been close so many times, a few times this year.
Oh, it's all part of that newer game, isn't it? It's the scores this year have just been something else.
The momentum's so hard to shift in the game. You're either relying on something extraordinary like an intercept or a sin binning, or you've got to knuckle down for 15 minutes at least and punch out 7 sets each way, and sometimes you don't have enough time. So teams will take chances and push passes, and that just plays in the opposition's hands. So
that's the consistency and discipline you were talking about.
Yeah, yep. And everyone's getting so skillful that, the good defending teams, you're not getting many games anymore like that are 12-6. The speed of the game and the fatigue into the game. Melbourne have leaked 24 plus points multiple times. Even Penrith to a certain degree. Through this last little period. Watch the Magic round. The two best defensive teams at that point were Roosters and Sharks, and I think it was 32 to 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's game's changing.
Yeah.
And so with that as well, obviously with sin bins coming in and you're losing players,
Yep.
I'd take you back to the Penrith game where we lost Drinky and then, I can't remember the other one, was it Jacko?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. 60 minutes against the Penrith side. Obviously they were down from Origin troops as well, but that's still 60 minutes without two players out there.
Yeah.
Or at least 13 on 12.
Yeah.
Do you train for that? Do you play 13 on 11 every now and then, or 13 on 12? Or?
13 v 12. Yeah, through the pre-season period mostly. Not a lot through the season. We might have a 4 or 5 minute block here and there. It's hard to train for. It's hard to train for. Like we have an understanding about what we need to do when we've got the ball with the advantage. It's, again, stripping it back and keeping things pretty simple and not pushing passes, because in that moment the possession is so important. In those games you're talking about, I don't think Penrith handled those periods well. They dropped the ball, a bit lateral. It's trying to create some momentum with the ball before you try and find the space, and it's because our boys are so skillful. They back themselves, and that's probably our biggest curse from time to time, is that they know how good they are. They just need to temper that decision-making process. So, defensively, it's easy to defend your line down a man, because teams will get one marker, fullbacks in the line, so you've got 12 defenders. When you're coming up and down the field, or the team's coming out of their own end, that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult, because you've got to fill up the short side first and foremost. So there's always going to be an advantage on the long side. The sides that are skillful and quick will go two passes, and in those situations you're giving up meters just so you're making the tackle, right, rather than giving up the line break, which means your middle forwards have to run all the way back behind the ball. So teams feel more comfortable defending their try line than they do at all other parts when you're down a man. And that's why you see across the game teams going for short dropouts, because you don't have to chase it. Teams will usually take 2 plays to find their spot before they have a shift. All right, so there's 2 plays gone, and then this time you've got 1 marker and you've got 12 in the line. So it's hard to get your advantage unless you get a quick play the ball somewhere, or you isolate a bigger body on a smaller body. So,
And when you do go back to 13 on 13, and say you do have the upper hand and you are having running football and the scoreboard's your friend, I noticed on the Dogs game there's a couple of times where they've kicked it dead and there's plenty of opportunity for that 20-metre optional restart. Is it something you guys talk about, or I know Drinky's done a couple, or he's done also the goal line dropout where he's just grubbed it ahead. But is the optional restart something that is in Todd Payten's playbook?
I'm always encouraging our players to back themselves. It would have to be an extraordinary circumstance moving forward for me to be happy with someone to try and do that. If there's a couple of minutes before half time, we've got to lead maybe, but I said it earlier, you've got to earn the right in these games, and that's tricking your way out of it. If you're chasing points, there's not much time left on the clock, then absolutely, but not before the final 5 minutes would I hopefully see that. But no one Drinky. You never know.
He's got the freedom to make his own calls to a point, I'm sure.
Yep.
Doesn't get the back of the wrist too much, backhand too often.
No, not a lot.
Often enough.
Yeah, he's a big part of our attacking game, and you can't have it both ways in my opinion. You know, for players to play at their best, they've got to feel confident enough to have the freedom to be creative, and he's a creative player. So if I'm putting constraints on him consistently, then it would inhibit his game, which affects us. You know, the language I use with him pretty consistently is just right play, right time. You know, I give him a little anecdote of Eric Cantona and Alex Ferguson a while back, and he goes, "Who are they?"
Young pup.
But you know, Alex Ferguson was always questioned. You know, why is Eric such an enigma in games? You don't see much of him. He's, you know, he doesn't exert himself enough on the game. And Alex stood up for him and said, "Well, mate, you're wrong, because Eric always takes the easy pass or the percentage pass until it's needed not to. That's when he comes up with something brilliant, you know." And that's, you know, I can liken Drinky to Eric, because he's got some wonderful talent and the ability to do the things that most people can't. It's just the impulse of trying to do it all the time, you know. That's where he can really set his game a lot apart from the rest of the group and comp.
I'm just picturing Mark Wahlberg in that movie. I'm a peacock, damn it! You gotta let me fly.
You mentioned before, I've got a question on here as well. You're reading a lot. What books are you into? Your fiction or your...
No, yeah. I've worked out that I've got to go 2 that are sort of related to work, and then break it up with something that's more enjoyable. When I say more enjoyable, like something that I don't have to concentrate so hard at reading. You know.
Greek mythology?
No, definitely not. So at the moment I'm reading Billy Connolly's autobiography. He's got 2 books out, so I've read the second book first, and now I'm reading his actual biography. And others around coaching, leadership, you know, so very pertinent to the job and the group and the club. So, yeah.
Who coaches the coach?
I've got a mentor, I guess. I don't know if I mentioned him last time, but Michael Hagan, you might have seen him in the box from time to time. The club asked me after my first year, which was difficult, and just to have a think about, you know, who would help in terms of being a mentor. And we'd had a couple of conversations with Wayne. I had never met Wayne, but Lewis, our chairman, knew Wayne somehow, and Wayne was pretty close to getting it done. Then he got the Dolphins job, so that fell away. And then they asked me to have a think after a week or 2. You know, Hagues popped into my head. I actually offered Hagues the assistant coach's role when I first got the job, just knowing that I needed someone with a bit of experience. And Hagues was my reserve grade coach in Canberra under Mal, like many years ago. So I wouldn't say we kept in touch, but every time we crossed paths, you know, it was always good to catch up. He's a good guy to talk to. And now he's at half our games in Sydney when it fits his schedule. He calls the Knights games on Triple M, so he's not coming up this weekend. He's been up to several games this year, coming on a pre-season camp. He's won a premiership. He's been with Mal in the Australian team and Queensland team for a number of years. He's not doing it next year. And we talk twice a week, and then he sends me a review, his thoughts on the review. And then thoughts on the team that we're playing this week, and I might just get 1 or 2 nuggets of gold from that that I can use as part of our language for the week, or, you know, different players. I guess the big thing that he's been big on for me is making sure that I look after myself. He understands what it's like to be in the washing machine, so he's into me about making sure that my headspace is right, that I'm doing things that just get me away from footy for a little bit, making sure that, you know, I'm spending the right amount of time with the family, quality time. And then, you know, he's big on pushing the relationships with the senior players. You know, the guys that you don't think that need the coaching. They actually, you've got to.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily the coaching, but the type of relationship you need to keep building the trust. So he's been awesome. And I don't think there's many or any other clubs that are doing that for their head coach.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I feel so well supported, and I know I'm in the right spot. This is a great place.
Is that why Pete and I saw you up Castle Hill the morning of the Broncos game? You were flying down on the bushy?
Yeah. I've got a bad knee, so I don't run.
Yeah.
I had a knee replacement 2 years ago.
He's got a fat belly, that's why he doesn't run.
Yeah, I've got one of those too. So to stop my belly from getting fatter, I ride a bike.
Yeah.
And it's 2-3 times a week, depending on our schedule. And I usually go up Castle Hill, down around the front, Bundock, Woolcock, Boundary Street, back to work. So
Yeah.
it's an hour. At the moment, I've got a little posse of staff members, and they've invested in better bikes. That's the excuse I'm using. And we're doing it 2-3 times a week. So it's good. Again, just clears my mind. You feel better when you exercise.
Yeah.
It's proven. So
100%.
I solve a fair few of my problems on the
Yeah.
bike. Over the time, whether it's selection, plays, something might just jump in my head, and I enjoy it. Yeah.
So you don't have a earplug in the ear and listen to.
No, that's dangerous.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
I hate runners or walkers with headsets going up and around the hill because they walk out of the goat tracks onto the road.
Yeah.
Without hearing what's coming, let alone seeing it. So
They don't look.
yeah.
People walk how they drive.
I've come
too.
close to picking up a couple.
Yeah. I can imagine. So you just raw dog it.
Hey.
You just raw dog it.
Yeah. It's just she's scary. What goes on right there?
It's good though. You just your own self, pavement. Yeah, you don't need anything else. It's good.
You talk about. You've always got a headset in.
I was up the hill with Cootie the other week.
Oh, there we go. Name
Keep
drop.
up with him.
Yeah, I set the pace actually.
Yeah. He's quite fit.
Yeah,
Cootie.
he only started doing it that week where he wore a weight vest because he was
thank
ahead
you.
of his other
Yep.
crew.
I was going to say
Yeah.
he wears a weight. Cootie wears
Yep.
a weight vest.
I was 2-stepping it. He was only doing 1-step, and I was coming off. That was a big night. I felt his farewell. and then come home and worked all day Friday. He came home, mowed lawn, did stuff, and then drank about 6 VVs and went, oh shit, I promised Cootie I'm doing the hill at
So
5
you did it
a.m.
after half a dozen.
Yeah, probably
night before.
more like 8 or 9.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the night before.
Yeah.
That's the one I didn't help you with.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually showed up to his house and gave him a few beers, so I'll take some of the blame for that. Anyway, it's all good. How are you for time?
Yeah, I'm okay.
We'll let you go if you.
No, all good.
All right. We might go through our normal show if that's all right. If my mouse starts working. There we go. All right. So, what are we, 142? Well, I had the news that Griffin Neame re-signed, but we already covered that before. It's been some good re-signings this year. If I do say so, with you sitting in the room, it's obviously something you want to keep this group together as much as possible.
Yeah.
With losing so many.
Yeah, it's a big part of the job, I guess, getting that cap and roster right. I guess when I'm signing players, it's a little different in terms of how we were signing at the start. Now we focus purely on character first, making sure that they're a good fit for the group and the town. Everyone's talented, but you want to know that they've got a bit of substance about them. Because the talent, the character will put you in the contest, and the talent will win your game. So, I think we've managed it as well as we could have, and we've kept, Tommy did, and sign him long term. Rubes, 2 captains, is important. They're huge parts of the puzzle, so they're locked down.
And local boys too.
Yeah, and Griff's Griff again, like I said, he's only 22, 23. Cohen Hess is
Yeah.
It's a lot of the players like that. Like you don't think of Nanai. What is he? 22,
21,
23.
if that. Yeah.
And Lukey in the last couple of weeks has been just killing it.
Yeah, and what no one knows outside of our club is that he tore his PCL in the Raiders game.
Lukey?
Sure.
Oh, do we want to edit that one out?
Well, it doesn't matter because he didn't miss it. Well, who did we play? It might have been the Broncos game. We had a bye in between. So it was a 10-day turnaround, and I've never seen anyone play straight away with it. You know, it's strapped up.
Yeah.
But he's a tough kid. There's a couple other guys. There was multiple guys getting injections. You know, but it's that time of year, and it's a tough game. And
There's a little bit that with Lukey is that because he's got that history of injuries, and could he be covering it up a little bit just to say no, I need to play, or
no, because he needs to be able to functionally do what he's required to do. He did it jumping for a ball early in the match, and as he come down, it obviously ruptured. Played the rest of the game. Said it was a little loose at half time, but you know he's changed of direction. He's come off both feet on one carry. We had the Storm game was the next game, so it was a Thursday night game. So I guess it's 12 days, and he just improved day after day. Didn't commit to playing until the captain's run, but he was resolute, and his attitude towards playing has a big part to do with it, you know. And there's some other guys that, you know, don't handle being hurt or injured, you know, and getting their job done through on the weekend. So he's a tough kid, really tough kid. And yeah, you're right, he's had some injury concerns up until now, but he's also starting to understand how devastating it can be. He's tackling better, and you know he's getting his timing with Tommy Dearden much better, and he pulled apart a pretty good defensive centre on the weekend multiple times. You know, it was a great display from him.
His buddy flies in here, Trent. Far out.
what is the
What are
game?
they?
I don't know. Have you
Where are they?
No
We're
flies
doing
on
this
me.
all night.
No fly.
But yeah, Accor Stadium, 44 points to 6. Felty with a double, Talangi with a double, Lukey, Drinkwater, Holmes, who didn't score is a shorter list, and the boot from Val, 7 from 7, and the penalty goal. Nothing.
He's keeping really well, which I like going up by sixes.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
He's not just getting it in either. It's over the black dot.
Yep. And we left some points out there, to be fair. Like Heelan made a couple of line breaks that should have been tries. Drinky got a dud bounce off a kick, you know, from Jake Clifford close to try line.
Yep.
So, we need to spend enough time in the right parts of the field, and we got some points in us.
Yeah. We did score off that eventually, though, with a great inside-outside Nanai play to Drink. That's a couple of trick shots coming in to the fold.
Yeah, we kind of set that up because the way that they defend their 4 men, take themselves out and put inside pressure on the halves. So, you know, once you commit and out the line, it's hard for you to tie back in, but the quality of and the skill required to do that, I don't think anyone outside of Meyer probably can't make that pass, you know. So it worked well because of who we had up against kicks and his habits. So, yeah, it was well executed play.
After each game in our reviews, we do 3-2-1s where we nominate our Dalian style points. Is that something you do have in your head, or do you publicise to the players?
Not publicly, but we have a 3-2-1 voting system for our Player of the Year.
Yep.
That's, I guess, the coaches give that award or come to a consensus around the 3-2-1, and then that's polled. So, I think Jeremiah was 3, Heelan 2, Tommy Dearden 1 from memory.
Well, Pistol went. No, you had Lukey 3,
Yeah, I had Lukey 3.
Dearden 2,
Yeah.
Neem 1.
I had Taumalolo as 1, but after watching the replay, I changed him from Lolo to Neem.
Yep. Griff was really, really strong. Played
Yeah.
large chunk of time in the middle, and both of those guys won their defensive involvements as best as they have for the season. So
I went Lukey 3, McIntyre 2, and Felt 1. They run hard.
Yep.
McIntyre and Felt.
He's been-
Felt's, he doesn't look like the oldest guy in the park. Sorry,
Yep.
Felty. And Macca is, or McIntyre, because Macca has been
Yep.
playing, but he seems like he fits right in. You couldn't. He feels like a local lad.
Yep.
He's been a buy, if not one of the buys of the season.
Yep.
Across the board, like has played almost every position, and you thought, Sam, who's this bloke? So he's been outstanding.
awesome.
Yeah.
And from that game, I don't think there was a bad player. So you could have given votes to pretty much everyone across the group. Sammy McIntyre was a mid-season signing last year. Come to us from the Titans. His pre-season, there was a look in his eye, and the work that he put into it is, I guess, shows to the rest of the group that you need to put in the work for a good season, and that's exactly what he's done. And the thing I like about Tonk, he's comfortable being his own person. He doesn't care if he ruffles a couple of feathers with what he says and does out in the training pitch. Tommy Gilbert used to be that guy for us.
Yeah.
And when Tommy Gilbert or Sam McIntyre takes the first carry or makes the first tackle of the session, someone's trying to kill him, or he's trying to bend his back and give it to someone else. So that just sets the tone for it's around. So that sets the tone, and I keep saying this, but he's earned the respect of the group with the way he goes about his business, and he's been great for us. And he's played centre. He's played back row, he's played middle, he's played hooker. So he's a problem solver and a footballer.
And you mentioned earlier that you are chasing another medal to complete a piece. Tommy has had injury problems, and he did go for family. Is there a carrot there that you'd like to get him back at all? Or
Tommy Gilbert?
Gilbert, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to be hard because he just signed a new deal.
He sure did.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, longer term. Yeah, I'd love to have him back. He's a great kid. Sad to see him go through the struggles he's gone through.
Yeah, I think we all are. Yeah.
But he's messaged me multiple times throughout the season. So yeah, good kid.
And the hammer. Speaking of getting people back,
Hey,
it's no secret.
Yeah, I don't know where it's come from. Yeah, again, he's just signed an upgraded deal down there at the start of the year. I'll take him back in a heartbeat. Yeah, so I'll watch him from time to time and think, But he wanted to play fullback. I couldn't assure him that here, just can't keep them all. Keep them all.
And you got to do what you got to do at that time.
Yeah.
You can't have.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have. Was it 2020 hindsight? Anyway, so
Come and play for bottle tops. That's what I can offer him.
I've got 40 in my wallet.
yeah, if we all pitch in. Obviously elimination final this weekend, and I think we've covered that one probably enough. The team, just a quick look through the list. It's fairly similar to the previous. I mean, not many changes there.
No, well, Macca comes in. That's the only real change. It's the same 22s that we named last week.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure of that. So it's as full strength as we can be outside of the long-term ACLs, which are Cohen, Zachy Laybutt and Jermaine Tanul-Brown, who's done the Achilles. So, yeah, the squad, touch wood, continues to stay as healthy as we are.
Jermaine's supplying the soundtrack for the year.
Yeah, he's quite talented actually. The boys put his music on in the gym a bit. I've known his music, while I was at the Warriors. It's just, I enjoy it, I enjoy seeing them do other things outside of what we do from day to day. And if you knew Jermaine, you'd be shocked because he's as quiet as a church mouse, around the group. I'm sure he's a little bit rowdier in his own company with the guys that he trusts wholeheartedly. But in amongst the big group, he's just got his head down. He doesn't say a lot, but I've seen him on stage down Flinders Street and you go, holy shit, who is this kid? There was 400 people in there. He's up there rapping and he's bloody good at it. He makes his own music, like full kit and caboodle, lyrics, music, a lot.
He was on our show probably 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I think in the 22 season, I think he was.
And just like quiet, like he was fine to chat.
Yeah.
But just you wouldn't pick him as a getting up on stage kind of bloke.
Young Maine, isn't it?
Young Maine.
Yeah.
I think he's done 2 full albums now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just released some new music the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Full film clips and everything.
Yeah.
But he's always been polite, always happy to shake your hand and have a chat too.
No, he's a terrific fella and a guy that when I got to the Warriors, he was on a training trial and he was a little bit off the pace, but he never quit. He worked his backside off for that whole summer. He dropped a fair bit of weight and I think within 4 rounds he was playing first grade. And he'd been in that Melbourne system as an under-20s player. Come out the back door, he was in Q Cup playing for, can't remember who he was playing for. But just got an opportunity, stayed persistent and, because he'd been in Melbourne, he knew how to wrestle, he knew how to tackle and, while he wouldn't win in many games, I trusted him. I could leave him out there for 25, 30 minutes and he'd just keep going and keep winning his involvements. So he's one of those guys that you needed within your squad.
Didn't take a backward step last year at Magic round with Hargraves either. He
he
put
did.
Hargraves off the game that game.
Yep. And again, he's another guy that is undervalued and we've missed him a bit, through that middle third.
Do you keep an eye on much on the women's games?
Don't watch them all. Our girls, I don't get to see every minute of it, but I see them train consistently. They're in and around the facility quite often, obviously. But, I see how hard they work. My daughter, she plays league on a Saturday. I think it's great. There are some challenges logistically for us internally because of the building. We've pretty much outgrown it after 12 months with the young guns and the women's team coming in. But we're one club, and I know how much it means to them, which is what I like.
How do you view the idea of them moving to Cairns?
Yep, I think it's a smart move. Yeah, I really do. I know there's a bigger plan in place for our own geographical footprint. Our first step's into Cairns, and our second step will be down in the Mackay region. It's a huge investment from the club, and that's going to, I guess, shore up, both 3 parts of where we are. So they're going to get a $27 million facility, which is purpose-built for those girls. I think it'll be an easier place to attract signings. There will be some challenges, I guess, once we move them.
Killigans.
But that's part of the attraction to signing, look at the Q Cup teams that we've got. It's much easier to recruit to Cairns than it is to Mackay. Just the different towns and what's available, and so I see that being an advantage for the recruitment and retention part of that program. Again, it just ties down who we are and where we are.
Well, they got up on the weekend, 24-22 over the Tigers.
Yeah, the last few minutes were a little sketchy. Yeah. We're in the team room watching it with most of the players, and it looked hot and uncomfortable, and managed to hang on.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
Overall, and it was good that they held on in those last minutes for sure.
Yeah.
We were just discussing this last week, I think. We worked it out that if we make it to the prelim, which will be played Saturday night at around 5:30, 6:30, the ladies play that same day. Is there an opportunity with the club now you can pull some strings? Buy a ticket, go watch the ladies, but then stick around and watch the men's on the big screen.
So the
at
girls
the
play here,
stadium.
do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be a cost thing, I'd say. You know, costs.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive to open the stadium. I've got to say that.
Well, it'll already be open for the ladies' game.
Correct. Yeah, but I think they charge by the hour.
Oh, pricks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So just take all your mates from the stadium, take them over to the Leafs Club.
Yep.
Yep. Put it on the big screen there.
Done.
All right.
Just not too many rums.
Oh no, that's. You've seen we've got branded pannikins now, so that's what's going to happen starting this weekend. Even I'm getting on board. Actually, a little admission: I watched the Bulldogs game with my first pannikin, and it's got 100% strike rate, so I can't stop now.
Make sure you take it this weekend.
I will be strapped to my belt. Hey, Peter.
As you do.
Indeed. Now our try or no try segment. This is a good one. I actually don't mind this, funnily, because I can relate to it as of this week. On a windy day in suburbia and as a grown adult, flying a kite, try or no try? Yes or no?
Oh, absolutely a try.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Standing out the front, you've got a beer, set the scene, you've got wind blowing down the road.
No kids around?
Or even if your kids are there, but obviously for myself, no kids around.
Right. Or wife.
Except the neighbours or the wife. And you say, I'm just going to fly a kite. You should see the looks that you get off the cars going past. What
So you
is
actually
he
did
doing?
this?
Yeah, I have done this, yeah. And then my neighbour got one, is out, and he went, this is a great idea. Oh, no. And then tied it to the fishing line. It was like it was basically air fishing.
The diamond kite.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
as
right.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he had a diamond
Have you seen
kite.
those stunt kites where you've got the two strings and they?
He's never going to be able to do
No,
that.
no. Well,
Drinking one hand.
The
you
neighbour
could.
had the diamond kite. I had a seagull sort of kite, so I was a bit like that.
Yeah.
And the neighbour put it onto the fishing rod, and it felt like you were mackerel fishing in the air. It was just, and I think this isn't a flight path here, but I think you got to bring this down.
We're awfully close to the flight path over there, so be careful putting too many objects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passing the time, flying a kite as a grown adult.
Sure. Okay. Try. It's obviously a try. Depends who's in the bunker. You don't want to talk about that, do you? Any favourites or not? I'm pretty sure I asked you that last time. Don't want to say that publicly.
Favourite what?
Bunker official.
I don't like the bunker at all.
At all.
No.
I don't think you're alone there.
No. There's just too much error for it to be worth any value. And I know Wayne had a shot at it on the weekend. No, I don't disagree with him. And I heard Andrew Abdo saying, we need to have technology as part of our game. But I look at, say, cricket and how their technology is involved. Mm-hmm. They're actually, the technology's making the interpretation. The difference between us is that we've got the technology, but we've still got the humans making the interpretations up. Not up, but making the interpretation decision. And you know what happens with humans, there's too many human errors.
Yep.
And interpretation of our game differs from one person to the other. So, I'd rather just cop the referees making a decision at top speed and just get on with it.
Yep.
You're going to cop some howlers, but you're also going to get some over time. So, that would speed the game up. The stoppages in some of the games are going for well over 2.5 hours, from once the kickoff's finished. Maybe not well over 2.5 hours, but like some games. Some games are getting up there. So I wouldn't be unhappy if they just went back. But I know they're not going to.
Yeah. Or just took advantage of the tech and just let that be the decision maker.
Maybe develop it more. Like it seems stagnant for the last since it was introduced. Doesn't appear that much has changed. They might have been back of house, but to us it looks the same.
But the whole obstruction rule doesn't have a lot of logic behind it, because
we started on
like
that.
you actually are running at the inside shoulder of a defender.
Yeah.
But it's the outside shoulder of the other defender. So, anyway.
Would you be happy just for tries only, like just the put down, not the lead up play to it?
That's a fair point. Yeah. I think the referees have got a pretty strong feel for the obstruction, because they always send it up as a try or no try, and I wouldn't say they get that wrong a lot. But yeah, even the sin binnings and the high contact, the inconsistencies with that. I hate the sin binning because it ruins a contest. That for me, I'd rather the judiciary just go hard at them after the game. Yeah, if it's a send off, send them off. Like that's pretty black and white.
Yeah, that's something different.
But the high contact, the level of contact, the mitigating factors in it, what happens 1 week in that regard can change from game to game. So, and if you're playing and you're down 12 men and you concede a try or two, the game's pretty well out of reach.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the frustrating part, that we've sped the game up so much, but we're penalising guys that aren't intentionally trying to hurt one another. And that's the part that probably doesn't sit well with me, is that as a game we've changed the rules and tried to bring fatigue in it, but keeping it quick. And I'm more for player safety, but it's not going to change.
No, it's a contact sport.
It's going to happen, and nothing's ever really intentional up around the melon, and it just ruins a contest. So it hasn't detracted or changed the way that players play and the game's being played in terms of tackling and all that sort of stuff. So why don't just go harder at the judiciary, where instead of fining someone, they miss 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That might change how we're coaching and how it's played. I don't definitively know that, but it annoys me that we're ruining the spectacle because of sin binnings that are just inconsistent from week to week.
Yeah. Were you a bit nervous against the Storm with Ruben Cotter? He was
the one where he
was about half a foot off the ground. Yeah. But mate's gone, you've hit him in the head, mate. I'm around his bootlaces. Yeah. Where else do you want me? I'm going low. Yeah. And there's been times before where people have gone for 10 for that. Where else is he going to tackle?
Well, I think Val went for 10 against the Titans down there last year. He jammed out the back on Jaden, and Jaden slipped and was heading down. I'm not saying that Val didn't hit him in the head, but there were some mitigating factors in that. So, but he still goes for 10s.
There's got to be a strategy if things are tight, using the HIA to your advantage of being able to target the playmakers and get them off for 10, get them doing the HIA review and all that. There's just thinking of the strategy piece as to how you can go about it.
You'd be silly if...
Until they fail the HIA.
I think you'd be silly if you weren't considering that as an option. As in going, not saying to someone, go out there and take his head off, because I don't think that happens. But
accidentally take his head off.
But, if you happen to send this guy for a HIA, I'm not saying they did that to Walsh. But, if it doesn't come up in conversation, I'd be very surprised. And I'm not saying here, but anywhere. There'll be clubs considering it. 100% they would be. Let's sacrifice a player to take out one of theirs. I'm not saying...
I wouldn't be doing it.
No, I'm not saying...
way.
But I guarantee it's been talked about. It might only be at a player level, but...
That's a high risk to lose a player for a game just to take out Ponga on the weekend. And if you don't get it right and Ponga still plays on, it's 13 on 12. That's a big risk.
I'm just saying that there's some teams that look for every advantage, and I reckon that has been discussed. And they're not going to go through with it, but it would be discussed.
Yeah, maybe.
They look for any advantage. You look at the wrestle that has come out of, and chicken wing and all these sorts of tactics, and that's not too far off. And they'll do it. They'll sail as close to the sun as they can.
What do you think the next one will be? If we've had chicken wings and crushes and squirrel grips, do you think like
Squirrel grips?
Yeah,
dingo
I don't
ankle
know how-
lock or
The
how popular
hopalatis.
those ones. I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't think the hip drop was a major part of our game before the crackdown. So to answer your question, I've got no idea what will be the next one. I know that we got some indication leading to last weekend's game that they're going to crack down on the leg lift. They felt like they've let a lot of those go over the past 6-8 weeks. So
The leg lift, as in one leg.
Yeah. So at the start of the year, they sent out a video file of things that they're going to crack down and gave us examples of it. The downtown.
That lasted.
Yeah, well, they're still calling them, but it stops like a whole edge going, 10 metres before the kick is kicked. Blockers, the disruptor, some other stuff. So the leg lift was one of those, and even if it was just picking up one leg to try and get someone off balance, they deemed that was putting the ball carrier in a dangerous position. So,
how do you?
which is something that we've practiced for so long.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but it's not super difficult either. But like, you're just not allowed to lift one leg anymore.
But you're like that in a decision.
Yeah, and you saw a couple at the start of the year that they did it, and they go, "Oh shit," give away a penalty. So I noticed there was one in our game against Jordan McLean. I can't remember against who that was missed. So we got the warning that they're going to crack down on that if it happened again across the game, but I didn't see any on the weekend.
Right into finals. Can we just let it be? It's
Yeah.
So you get penalised and you lose the game by a field goal because of something that happened to you 8 weeks ago, and you didn't get it, and you lost that game, which would have made you finish fourth. And now you're crueling a season on it now. Like, just
To be fair,
play out the season.
I think the refs have done pretty all right the last couple of weeks in putting the whistle away.
Yep.
I often wonder whether it's my bias that I notice that or not, because whether I'm grumpy or not, but we've been getting the result and it feels like the game has flowed better.
I feel sorry for the refs because they're just delivering what people higher up have asked and wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they get enough support publicly. Look at Graham Annesley's press conferences. I don't watch them, but he's out there one way or another. He's saying yes or no. Like, that's not helping anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game
Pisses
is
me
better.
off as a coach if it goes against us and they come out after the fact that we got that wrong.
Yeah,
That's not
too late
helping.
now. Yeah.
And then it throws their own under the bus, and they're under more pressure every week. Frustrating.
Who's the ref this week? We need to snip that
Todd
and
Smith.
get that out there. So,
Is it right?
just need to make sure he sees that. But that was nice.
Just while we are dragging on a little bit, and feel free not to answer this at all, but North Queensland Cowboys, do you think there is a conspiracy? There's 6 other Sydney teams. Do you think that there is an agenda that the higher ups might go, we don't want these guys from up
No, I
north
don't
end?
think
Or,
so. Yeah, I don't think so.
hey, Todd,
And
just
we'll turn off the mics.
hey, Toddy Smith, just blow a few ruck infringements, try and manipulate things that way. Do you think there's no?
No. Why do you?
From my one-eyed biased cowboy opinion at times, it does look like that's not a ruck infringement. That's not this.
Yep.
What are they doing here? And take that Penrith game away this year, and geez, we got the wrong side of everything, and we still kept holding up. It didn't quite fit their agenda.
Yep, I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Don't sign up to that. No, that's all good. We might leave these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Or we might wrap it up there. Did you have any messages you wanted our listeners to going into the finals?
No, just enjoy the ride. Like I was asked today by Benny, I've got a message for our crowd. I would like our stadium to be hostile on the weekend. You know, our crowd's like our footy team. We can be too nice. You know, they appreciate good football and they're very respectful. I've been to some grounds this year that have been vitriolic and uncomfortable. You know, the weekend wasn't great. You know, Leichhardt is notoriously hostile. Yes, it's closer to the players and they can hear it clearer than others, but I would like our crowd to get into the opposition and get into the referee and then get into the opposition more. So, and get behind our boys because we've got a month of footy left.
So booing's allowed?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where's the line?
Anything personal for me.
Yep.
Like personal attack on the player, but you can try and put him off kicking and boo the ref, you know, give the club a gobful as they're running out. Anything personal, I think, is just out of line. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time. We've taken up way more than we thought we were allowed to take. So much appreciated, and I'm sure everyone is really, obviously we're going to be behind you this week and for the next 3 weeks especially. So, and into next year.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
for the next month. Yeah.
No worries.
Very good. All right. Todd Payten.
Sorry, one last one, just on that, just into next year. Sorry, I know I jumped the gun early there. We win the grand final, we play a club challenge. Is Jake Granville got a swan song in him?
Don't think he's contracted past November 1, but I'm sure
A one-game contract? Or?
If he's not with another entity, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the trip.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be fair, given his contribution to our club over a long period of time.
Excellent.
Fair.
All right. We'll leave it on that one. Todd Payten, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Go the Cowboys.
Tipping comp. ESPN 89132700, who we established is Herbie, leading the comp, 156 points, and the next closest is Get Your Tips Out on 153. So ESPN or Herbie has, it's got, you know, what is there? 8 games left? 7 games? 9 games.
4 this week, 2 next week is 6, 2 the following week is 8, Granny, 9.
9. See, I got one of those numbers was right. So in 9 games, you got 6 points to make up, Get Your Tips Out. But also, Hale 7 in third on 152. Graham C 89 on 149, along with Leigh Lewis Driving School and JJ 86. As we go down, Rocking Horse Road, Brian Mayer, Come On 99 and Cotter Be the Cowboys, all in the top 10 and all feasibly possible to win if ESPN 8913277700 forgets to tip or doesn't hit submit like Morgs does.
So what do? Do you start going, throwing caution to the wind and throw a few roughies out there? Is that the strategy?
Wow, that's not a bad strategy. I've seen that work. Hey, Pete.
It sometimes gets up.
In 20th spot, Cowboy Chicken, Billy.
Yep.
On 145.
Did you say 20th spot?
You're in 20th.
Oh, that's been a bit of a slide.
A bit of a slide. I think you were right up the top at
I
one
was
point.
getting all penisy in the top 10 and then, yeah.
You've tipped, I think you've got one of the longest or the most perfect rounds, even though one of them was a bye round.
Yeah, but then I went back through my tips and I had a week of 2, a week of 3, another week of 2. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see some of
Yeah,
those.
there was some disgusting weeks.
So it's definitely a roller coaster over there.
Oh, yeah.
Rocks or
3
diamonds. It's a bit of a roller coaster. I'm in 46th spot on 139 points. I'm definitely throwing caution to the wind. Fucking why not at this point? In 78th spot is Mal's Pies number 1 on 129. On 128, in 80th.
I know.
Pistol blazing two
I know.
guns.
I'm one behind him. What's the margin?
That was a joker that got you back up there. 368 plays 334.
Ooh.
So you got to get your margin down.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, way down. Way down.
Yeah, but the shit thing is that bloody numbnut Four Eyes is going to be listening to this over in the old dart before the first week. So all he has to do is copy my tips now, and I can't beat him.
Look, such is life. If you had you can only play what's put in front of you.
I would bet my life that he does not place any bets between now and when he comes back.
Well, he placed it round and he got 6 for it.
Oh,
like,
stop.
yeah, like arsehole.
The Potato in 106th spot on 105 points. So just proving that even 50-50 picks are no good. So the Patreon ladder, get your tips out. Winning that one on 153. Traxxas on the Ranch in second on 148, along with Como 99. So there's a chance for you guys. Lewis Driving School there in fourth, and Cowboy Chicken in fifth with Swiss Cowboy, 145 points apiece. Ooh. You and Carsten, eh? Rocking it out. I don't know if Carsten's used all his... Oh, no, he has used his last joker. So there you go. Traxxas on the Ranch might have a spare joker.
Oh, you would have wanted to use it last weekend or this.
Unless he used it in the first 7 rounds. It doesn't really show up on here. I don't know, but you might want to... I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. We go into tipping for this week, and it kicks off on Friday night, 7:50, Bluebet Stadium. Panthers, $1.40. Roosters, $3.
Friday night, no Broncos game.
But they did the captains, all the captains around the trophy in Sydney during the week, and there was no Broncos.
No Broncos in
No
that
Broncos
either.
in that one either.
Odd.
And Tommy Dearden had a hand on the trophy.
I saw that.
That was quite nice.
Did he have it, or was it just the way that the
I think it
photo
was sitting just behind it.
It was the way look. Shut up.
No,
It was a trick of the camera.
it's going to happen.
We've got a
It's just
month
an
of footy ahead.
It's an omen.
All right, Pete. Panthers, Roosters.
I'll go Panthers by 24.
Now you got to rein in that margin, not make it worse.
No, but I will, because when they win by 24 and Morgie goes, you're going Roosters by 5, and then all of a sudden it's a 29-point turnaround.
Okay. All right. Oh, I'm going to go the Panthers by 6. It probably will be more than that. Bill.
I've gone the Panthers by 8.
Ooh, okay. Trent.
Is Cleary back?
I believe he is.
For
That's
60
the
minutes
only-
only, and then he'll tear his hammy.
Let's hope so.
Look, we don't want to wish injury on people, but
No, of course not.
we are plotting for head high.
Except for fucking Luai. Yeah.
Well, he's going to Tigers next year. Like, why? Anyway.
I'm struggling. This will be obviously a big game, but I reckon the Roosters just about will have their measure. So I am throwing caution to the wind, even though I've got no horse in the race. I'm going the Roosters by 6.
Well, the Potatoes picked the Roosters as well.
Yeah,
so
smart.
There you go.
Smart.
Saturday the 14th at 4:05 p.m. Amy Park Storm, $1.30. Sharks, $3.60, Peter.
You didn't get Bills tipped
Yes, I did.
on
Yeah,
the
you did.
Penrith game.
Yep,
Oh,
Yeah, Penrith by 8.
oh, righto. I wasn't listening.
clearly.
Storm.
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 All right. I too going the Storm. Bill?
Yeah, going the Storm as well.
Storm.
However, for Scotty Groves, if Storm lose and Cows win, he'll be able to get to watch the Cows versus Melbourne next week.
Oh, yeah. Very good. The Potatoes gone the Storm as well. Probably the smart bet, which means the Sharks will get up and win. Who cares? 7:50 p.m. Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Cowboys $1.42. The Knights $2.90. Peter. Silly question.
Haven't not tipped them all year, so
Cowboys it is.
Cowboys it is.
I too.
Sticking with them.
I
As
too.
always, not you two. You've gone against them a couple of times, your turncoat.
And it's paid off once or twice for me.
No, yeah, well.
It actually has.
Yeah, but your dignity and...
Yep. Anyway, we're here now, finishing in 5th, and I'm tipping the Cowboys, Bill.
Yeah, going the Cowboys too.
Trent.
I, just with the Knights, played the Dolphins. If that Knights shows up, I reckon that they'll do okay, but I reckon we thump them.
It didn't look like a quality game
No.
from either side.
Yeah.
It definitely looked like a struggle for 8th place to me.
You know how there's those games where you're actually negating the other team? I thought that the Knights did some smart footy. So,
Well, we'll see what happens. The potato, clearly, we will see. But the potato has picked the Knights. Boo.
True.
Stupid vegetable. Did you eat it?
No, I don't.
Is it still in the freezer?
I think so. I never touched it.
Come on, man. Sunday the 15th.
You were meant to take it with you.
I wasn't taking that. 4:05 p.m. at Accor Stadium. The Bulldogs $1.95. Manly $1.85.
I've gone dogs. I've gone all homes this week.
All homes.
I'm the home boys.
All Valentines.
All the Valentines, all the home dogs.
All right, I'm going to go Manly. I think the Bulldogs have been broken. That's
I
me.
know.
And there's no Fox.
yep.
Oh,
Just who knows what's going on there. But anyway, Bill.
Yeah, I've gone Manly as well.
Good call.
I reckon after the game that we had against the Bulldogs, I reckon Manly will run over them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teams do struggle after playing the Cowboys.
I mean, we struggled against Manly earlier in the year, so
yeah, good theory.
Injuries too. Dogs got a lot of injuries, and I'd Manly.
Going Manly as well. The potato has gone the Bulldogs.
yeah, good work, Spud.
Good work, Spud. And, geez, it seems quite short, but that's tipping for qualifying finals in the NRL in 2024.
Banking on a no Morgan submit.
Well, he just gets no button on his iPhone.
It's that bittersweet part of the year where there's great footy on, but it's limited. There's only so much, and it's coming to an end too.
And the other thing is almost all games could go either way.
Yeah.
Like Roosters could beat Panthers.
The whole season has been pick 'em. You haven't been able to follow the consistency of any team at bar Storm.
No.
Panthers to an extent, but
No. So now we turn to Supercoach, which is done and dusted for the year because they don't play it through into finals because you can't field the full team, see? And the winner of the 2024 On the Ranch official competition is Harry for the Piggy Riddells.
The Piggy Riddells got up the Mike Cunts.
They did. 31,887 points over Norfolk and Chance came second on 31,639, and Big Willie and Mike Hunt come third on 31,409. It's about 200 points of difference between everybody there.
The poor Mike Cunts. Unbelievable.
The Mike Hunts did not win.
They did not win the Supercoach.
No, the Piggy Riddells of all teams. Keggers came in fourth. Kalinda Chasers in fifth. Big Footy Guy in sixth. 5-year plan in seventh. Red Hot Richie's in eighth. Getting Felt Up in ninth. The Meme Team in 10th. I finished 11th. Scotty Drink Milk in 12th. Oak Valley Chooks. Billy, you're in 13th. It's unlucky for some. I Love Lamp is in 14th. Catastrophe in 15th. How you going, Kat? Kat's currently somewhere in Europe or England or London.
She actually
She was having a fiddly D today.
She messaged into the chat before, greetings from the place where the Titanic was actually built.
Yeah, Belfast.
Very good.
At the Hull and Wolf shipping docks.
Drinky for Dally M in 16th. Rock Lobster in 17th. Mam Cunster in 18th. Hounds of Justice. Peter,
Yeah.
I was going to say
19th.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't lose.
No, I didn't lose.
Didn't lose. Cowboys Young Guns in 20th, coached by Farq D. Kreider. Yep, say that quickly 3 times. Buston Bin Chickens in 21st. Birdale Buffaloes 22nd. Northern Stars 23rd. Magic Makers 24th. NQ Crushers 25th. Connors Cowboys 26th. And BJK scored 0 points in 27th.
Flogged the shit off BJK.
That's tipping. No, that's not tipping. That's Supercoach for this year. And I'm pretty sure if we do it next year, it's going to be heads-up play.
Yeah, it's got to be something a bit different to
Yeah,
that.
because just outright points makes no sense.
No, that's why, I sort of gave up the goat halfway through.
Sure you
You
do.
can tell
Yeah.
when you guys win something and not win something. Yeah. You know, let's scrap that.
Hey, we're still doing tipping. So, clearly.
Yeah, righto, lads.
Yeah, righto, here we go. All right, we're back again for this enthralling instalment of Pistols Multi. It'd be just nice to get one for the year. But it's all brought to you by Fusion Networks. Thanks to our good mate Morgie, who's over in the old Dart right now, living it up. He does customer service. He fixes internet problems. He glitches with switches, data cabling, anything else, security cameras. He's just a guy of the people, for the people. So we're going a lazy one this week. We were close last week. We just needed a Tigers to win, and we would have picked up. Yep, would have picked up with a Tigers win, and maybe a Dolphins win, and maybe something else as well. After the Cowboys scoring a try as well. No, we were close last week. All right, this week we're just going a quick one. We've got Lions versus GWS. So we're going Lions to win head-to-head into a Charlie Cameron and Joe Danaher anytime goal. We then go on Cowboys to beat Knights 13+. We then go against Roosters Penrith game. We've got Taruva and Targo, the two titties, to score anytime tries. And to round it out, we're going to the Storm versus Sharks game. Everyone likes a brick on one wing, and it's the Ryan Pappenhausen to cross any time. Now, that is paying 179 to 120 on that power play. Laugh it up, giggles. $3,596.17. This has every good chance. In fact, I'm going to double it and put 40 on it.
Oh, look out.
Just as next year, can I be the bookie? Can I take Morgan's money for these bets?
You're going to have to talk
and
to
I'll
Morgan.
pay?
You're going to have to talk to him.
Yeah, it'll be bad for you when we land the first 3 of next year.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, I can't pay you out. Oh, well. We now break your arms and kneecaps. You go swim with the fishes, Tawny.
Oh, no.
You
Well,
join the Navy.
that's Pistols Multi, brought to you by Fusion Networks. If you've got glitches in your switches or you need
For your data providing needs.
data providing needs, Microsoft 365, that sort of stuff, give Morgan a call. Not right now.
He's a little bit busy at the
A
moment.
little bit busy, but someone will answer the phone.
Do you think he's having a pint?
Do you
I
reckon he's had a few?
I reckon he's having a schooner.
Oh, yeah, he's got a knack.
Yeah, he's got a knack to bringing you back a pot when you ask for a pint.
He gave me a buzz Sunday. It was my birthday. And he's...
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. And he was doing the video call to say happy birthday. And he rubbed it in. He's a very authentic gentleman from the motherland, as you have all probably heard him carry on for a little while. But he was thrilled. He got to have for breakfast his scones, jam and cream. So he was thrilled. So he's living it up.
So the 17 kgs he lost before going over in 2 weeks is now all back on.
It's gone.
That's the past. Don't worry about it.
Very good. All right. Well, we're down to the last segment of this week, and if you're still listening, good on you. Well done. After 2 hours of toddy,
Yeah.
20 minutes of us, the quality just dropped straight off. But Pistol, add something to the playlist. Go.
Yeah, give us another great genre of music. Give me Luke Combs, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma.
Oh, good. Can't wait to add that one. All right. Well, then I'm going to add a bit of Pink Floyd. Wish You Were Here.
That's a good song.
It's not in my normal repertoire.
It is.
But
It's nothing.
It is pre-1990, just for you.
I knew that just struck a nerve.
Anything after 92, it doesn't go in the playlist from your library.
Oh, 92 now. Okay. Very good. Bill.
So I've decided to go for a bit of real R&B after an earlier discussion. And I've gone Shake a Tail Feather by the Blues Brothers and Ray Charles.
Oh,
Nice. Blues Brothers. I like it. And Ray Charles. Wow. Haven't heard that name in a long time.
he's got 2 first names.
You didn't see that coming.
He's got 2 fronts.
Oh, look at you. Zinger. Zinger from all sides. Trent, hit us with a tune.
Going to go for Toto,
Toto.
and in the theme, Hold the Line.
Oh, yes. I think we might have actually added that one previously. It does sound familiar, but we'll put it in anyway. Just for you, Trent.
Apologies.
No, don't apologise. That's not what we're about. Since when do we apologise? About
Yeah,
nothing.
fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck it all. I can't edit that out now with the theme song going over top of it. Well done.
Unbelievable. Well
Now
done.
Now we're
done.
cancelled on YouTube.
I'm just bringing the hostility. How good was that?
Bring the hostility. Boo. Boo a night.
Boo a night.
Boo a night.
With a K.
Yes.
Night with a K.
A Novacaustrian.
Novo Cast. Yes. Make it loud. Sing it loud and proud. Get up the opposition,
Yep.
but don't make it personal.
Nothing personal.
That can be tricky.
It's telling
Can't
them
run without a head.
Yeah,
I haven't brought that one out in a while.
no.
it's telling them they can't back a trailer personal, or is that?
Oh, yeah, when he's
I
shooting
take
for a
that
goal.
Yeah, I'll
Hey,
love you on it.
Ponga, you can't reverse a trailer. What the fuck? And then sprays it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
I don't think that's personal.
Nah,
It's just a dig.
Just a dig.
it's just a good old footy sledge.
It is. Footy sledge. It's very relatable. Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, obviously, huge episode with Todd Payten. Thanks very much for joining us, Trent.
Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime. Thanks, Bill. I'm
No
sure
worries.
the video will look schmick.
Yeah, hopefully.
What could go wrong there? It's because of these faces. It's nothing to do with you. I'm not backing you out. I'm Rob. And you're Pistol.
I'm the pistol.
Stay shy.
Hopefully we'll have something up for you. Go the Panikins, power, and a massive thank you and shout out to Todd Payten and Ben Lonigan for making that happen. Really appreciate your support and help with that coming on. Great insights and great listening from the Sheriff.
And catch us at Clifford's Corner this weekend.
We'll be there with our Panikin of power.
Up the boys.
Up the Cowboys.
Go Cows.